I'm going to go ahead and open the regular council meeting in the Village of Franklin for Monday, January 12th, 2026. Can we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Let's do, Evan, as Abby and Angelina, let's do a slow play on the roll call, but let's do roll call, please.
Trustee Daniel Ferris.
Present.
Trustee Pam Hansen.
Present.
Trustee Jeffrey King.
Present.
Trustee Angelina Salaka.
Present.
Trustee Abigail Yates.
Present.
Trustee David Solly.
David told us he'll be late today.
And President David Goldberg.
Present. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Next on the agenda is adoption of the agenda. Before I take comments from anyone else that has comments on the agenda, I need to add one thing, and I'd like to readjust one thing. So Teresa and Rachel have asked us to consider a letter that is needed by the bank in order to change signators from me to Rachel. Well, I was there during the temporary period, so I'm adding to the new business agenda an item H, bank letter from, or bank letter to First Merchants Bank, which Teresa provided us with a copy of the draft. And then the second item is, in order to allow the residents as well as our cable board help to not have to wait while we're in closed session, I'm going to go ahead and move new business H, request to enter closed session, to after council reports. And then if anybody else has any comments on the agenda. All right, hearing none, if I can get a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
A motion from Hanson,
Second.
second from Ferris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion carries. Next, our minutes of our regular meeting of December 8th. Anybody have any comments before we take action? Nobody, I had none. At the end of this year, Sophia's gonna be going back to college. We have to find a new minute writer, because she's phenomenal. So, we have the minutes from our December 8th meeting. We have no comments, so I got a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Ferris,
Second.
second by King. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Public requests and comments. So this is the time on the agenda. If anybody would wish to speak to council on any matter, this is not an open dialogue, and if it's an item that's elsewhere on the agenda, we'd ask that you wait to address it at that time. John, it looks like you want to speak?
Yes, please. John Simon, 30320 Kincardine. I and many others were extremely disappointed by the way the process went for appointing a replacement trustee. The questions asked each candidate by trustees Sulaka and Solly appeared on the surface to be a sincere attempt to gather information to help trustees make an informed choice as to who would add the most value to the council. The process, however, was disingenuous, as the outcome had been decided. To trustees Sulaka and Solly, I ask, was there any answer that a candidate could have given that would have changed your vote? Said another way, when you considered Stuart Wooder's outstanding qualifications, including his 6 years on Planning Commission, 2 years as chairman, to say nothing about his years of volunteering and serving as Franklin Scout leader, and then compared those to the qualifications of Jeffrey King's 3 years of Franklin residency, minimal minimal volunteering, and zero Franklin government experience, please share what it was about Jeffrey's answers that convinced you that he was the candidate who would add the greatest value. I strongly believe, as do others, that the entire selection process is flawed and simply a show and a waste of time for all involved. I am concerned that a cabal has been formed within the council, which will certainly reduce the diversity of ideas and independent thought. On a slightly different topic, 2 months ago, I sent the council a proposal for a code of ethics. I was told that it had been discussed by the council legal committee, which decided that since such a code was not enforceable, it was not worth their time and effort to develop one. However, the committee totally missed the point. A code of ethics is not about punishment. It is a goal to identify ideal behavior and to be critical when it is lacking. The purpose of a code of ethics is to strengthen the integrity and trust and effectiveness of our local government by adopting a simple, proactive code for all elected and appointed officials. The code will also help ensure Franklin will be known for its good government and civic pride. 22 surrounding community governments currently have a code of ethics, so I find it disappointing and embarrassing that Franklin has not. I would ask the council to please reconsider the value of a code of ethics. And finally, lastly, I would like Trustee King to know that I meant him no disrespect. My remarks were meant to be critical of the council and not of him. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Anybody else like to speak? Okay, one other item. So we received a letter from Natalia Shub. It's a several-page long letter. Each of the trustees has received a copy of it. And Evan will make sure that this is entered into the record and a part of the public minutes.
Can I ask a question? When do we read the letters into the record and when do we not?
We don't ever read them into the record.
The
It's not
former
our
clerk
practice.
used to read the letters out loud.
Well, maybe she did.
So I'm just wondering what the policy is on that.
I don't know if there is a policy. It's my meeting, and I guess until there is a policy, that's how the meetings are gonna get run. So I guess that's the answer.
Can we establish some consistency, though? I think that's,
I don't think there's been inconsistency as far as the time being that we've been running them recently. Nobody has received record. In fact, Mr. King asked the same to be done, and I didn't read his letter into the record, and he acknowledged his dissatisfaction with that, but that's just been the policy. We don't have the time to necessarily read someone's entire letter. Somebody finds it important enough that it needs to be read to the entire public, then maybe they should come to a meeting and read it. So that's my position on it.
When you said it's part of the record, for example, Natalia Shub's letter, does that mean it will go into the folder, into the permanent file of the meeting records? Is that what you meant? We're not reading it out loud, but does it become part of the meeting record digitally?
Evan will save it as part of the record digitally.
Okay, that was my
I
question.
mean, our minute book only covers the minutes, but Evan has received it. We received it before the meeting. Again, we didn't receive it in time for legal committee, in which case it could have been included in the agenda packet, which is something we're discussing later today. But if it's something that a resident wants to be reviewed, then it could go to legal committee to be an agenda item. If it's something that they want to be spoken on the record, then they should come to the meeting to read it or send somebody to read it on their behalf. And otherwise, letters that we receive will be accepted, acknowledged, and put into the record.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else? So we said no, we had no one else, so I'll close public comments. So reports of village officers. Chief.
Good evening. So, as you can tell by the report, it's been relatively quiet in the month of December. No major incidents to report. I do have an update on our co-responder program. You know, we've been trying to get this going for the last 8 months. We had 2 great candidates. One went to a different jurisdiction, another one went in a totally different direction. But we have found, I believe, our person. Her name is Kimberly Craighead. She will begin her initial ride-alongs with our officers starting on January 20th. She's still going on the onboarding process with Oakland Community Health Network, but we expect her to be available to us at the beginning of March, and I will bring her to a meeting so you could get introduced to her. She was a clinical supervisor. She has been a therapist, and she obtained her master's degree from Michigan State University. She comes highly recommended, so we're excited for her to come on board. The last thing I have is our department requested membership, and we were accepted into MCAT. And what MCAT is a Major Case Assistance Team. And MCAT members agencies include Auburn Hills, Birmingham, Bloomfield Township, Clawson, Troy, Bloomfield Hills, and now Franklin. And what MCAT is it's a group of experienced detectives from these member agencies that I just spoke about who specialize in major crime investigation. So if we have a serious crime that happens here within our jurisdiction, I can ask for MCAT's assistance. They will provide 1 detective per agency to come assist us. And that's very important if you have a major case where you have to secure the scene and interview witnesses and get search warrants and things like that. So given that we only have 1 dedicated detective here in Franklin, I think this is a huge plus for our organization and for our village, and I'm very thankful for those organizations, those cities for allowing us in. And with that, I'll answer any of your questions. Sure.
I believe, my understanding is the PD has participated in countywide like narcotics task forces and other special groups. Are you still doing those? Is this a new thing, or does it replace something that you are already doing with your officers?
So currently, we're not in any task forces.
Okay.
Originally, my understanding is when the village council agreed to have a 12th full-time police officer, that the option was for that 12th person to be part of a task force. I have some ideas of what task force I'd like that to be, but we have not reached 12 people except for maybe 2 months that I've been here. So right now, we have no one assigned to a task force, and this is a task force, but obviously it's just a very part-time thing, and that we would be loaning out our detective for a short period of time, or they'd be loaning their detectives to us for a short period of time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Chief Averbuck is not here today. We received his report. If anybody has any comments, feel free. Treasurer's report. Teresa.
Good evening. The bills list for the month of December totaled $193,083.39. The bills are generally consistent with normal monthly spending. The expenditures are generally consistent with what's been budgeted for the 25-26 year. The village has sufficient funds to meet its current obligations. And did you get a list of the balances from the bank accounts in your list? You might not have gotten that, but I'm working with the banks to coordinate them and streamline and get the signatories done. So I'll submit that next month, if that's okay.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions?
My question is not about the current financial condition. It's a follow-up question on something that's been floating around for a while, and this question can be for you and Rachel. I'm aware that one of our contractors from the streetscape is looking for some additional funds. And I know that it's been difficult to access the records, wondering what your progress is on that, so that we can, close out and really be able to have a final number on the streetscape project.
Are you saying we owe money from 3 years ago?
They're
Is that
claiming,
is that the ASI?
it's ASI.
20,000.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
My understanding when we went to look at it, and I can't remember who it was, if it was Rachel or Kurt or somebody, did we start to look into that thought that we did owe that extra 20,000? I haven't had a chance to, it is on my radar. I was thinking about it the other day, and I know you asked a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's been busy, but,
What's the invoice
Or-
for?
They aren't
It's-
specifying what it's for.
So,
So why would we pay
so
that?
what I, from my recollection of, and this began with when Meg was here,
It's been
the
almost.
20,000
Yeah.
has been the holdback,
We
has
have
been
to
our
get it.
holdback. Originally, they had sent an invoice claiming that they were owed an additional $60,000. And I think we came to the conclusion that, in fact, the 60,000 was not owed, but that the 20,000 that was outstanding in the holdback, unless there was anything open to be completed, that everything had been completed, and they were entitled to the release of that, because if we're still holding money, everything's done, they're right. If it's for services, then they need to produce the unpaid, the
Invoice,
unpaid invoice,
yeah.
correct.
They did contact me before the holiday. I asked them to send me the invoice and the list of punch items that Meg created that they needed to address, and they have not done so. So once they send that to me and I can
Perfect.
verify that these items were completed, we can finalize the payment with them.
Right, perfect.
Does council have to approve the payment? If it's $20,000?
That's a good question. I'll look into it, but I would assume that since all of these payments have already been made, this was part of a previous approval. It's not a new request, as far as I can tell, but we'll double check.
I just don't want to make sure they're not taking advantage of us because we have poor documentation and record keeping. You know, because someone could say, and then if we have no record to counter it, we can't really validate them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I know it's been difficult, so, and I share Angelina's sentiment that, let's take the time we need to get the records aligned and be clear, and that punch list is in fact done, which is not exactly a treasurer issue, but it would be an administrative issue. And I'm not convinced that all of those items have been taken care of.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and I do plan to go through the list of payments we've made, along with the invoices that we have, just to confirm or validate anything that we receive from them or anything that Rachel figures out.
That's exactly what you need.
Because we don't want to, just take one source, I would think, because of the lack of information and stuff.
Thanks.
It is on my radar. We've been, I started to look into it, and we got bombarded with year-end documents and a lot of that stuff, so we're getting over that right now and be able to move forward.
Thank you.
Okay,
Who's the contractor?
ASI.
Oh,
Stuart, do you have anything? Hi, Stuart.
So just briefly, a few things tonight. We made a recommendation for the master plan to be recommended to council. I believe it's on hold. We want to make some updates based on some name changes since we started the process. So that's, we'll talk about what the next steps are for that. But other than that, and if we have to go back out to local municipalities for review, I doubt it, but we'll have to double check with McKenna on that. The other thing, though, is planning is working. We introduced the nuisance and blight abatement priorities the council shared with us, and we had the opportunity to look over it briefly. McKenna's helping us categorize so that we can prioritize which grouping of nuisances makes sense to start with, and we'll be discussing it next week. So, making progress there. That's really what's going on, main thing for planning.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks, Stuart.
No problem.
see anyone from Main Street. All right, next on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda. So these are items which we do not take discussion on. They've been included in the packet, and we would approve them all in one fell swoop unless there's anything that anybody would like to take off for discussion.
Which ones are they? Or can you go to the consent agenda, sorry?
So they are, yeah, you can, guys can read them. I would like to take one off because I think we need to make a clarification.
What's the check run?
It's like the bills.
The bills list.
Oh. Did Teresa look at Teresa, have you reviewed the annual retirement system report form?
Yeah, I took a look at it, I didn't bring it with me. Raina usually she prepares that when she does the year-end documents. It's just a reporting to the state to let us know where we stand financially. We're just below the 60%. I think we're
So-
58,
Sort of the
so
idea of taking it off.
hopefully.
Yeah, one thing that would,
Yes.
I guess I don't want to, is that something on the agenda that we can get to? I have a question on it, but.
All right, so let's do this. So we're going to go ahead and take consent agenda item B off, and we'll move that to just after consent agenda, and consent agenda item E off. As far as the other items, it's the check run, it's making Rachel the street administrator, it's acknowledging our PA 152 exemption, and
Is that the road fund? The PA 152?
No, it is what governs how much we pay every year for health insurance.
Oh, okay.
you have three options. We've checked the same option we've used for all of our prior years.
Since '23.
And then the last two are similar to what we had to do last meeting. We approved two ordinances in 2025 that were not codified, and we are going to recodify them. And we need to reapprove them for second reading so that Evan can begin the codification process. Evan, these are all gonna have to come off now. We're gonna have to take both those off and discuss them in a second too. So, as far as the consent agenda exists right now, it's the check run, it's Rachel as the street administrator, and the 152 exemption. So if I can get a motion to approve the consent agenda items A, C, and D.
Motion to approve consent agenda items A, C, and D.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Sally, second from Gates. All in favor, say aye.
One real quick thing though.
Yep.
Beforehand, I don't want to take it off because it's not prudent to the approval. But one of the things regarding PA 152 exemption resolution, we brought this up in legal. So for context purposes, this is something that we historically haven't done over the past couple of years, is that formal approval or acknowledgement. And so my recommendation would be for either finance or the HR committee just to look at it, again, just to familiarize ourselves as a council, because I do think we approved it and we're all in support of it, but to fully understand and appreciate from a policy perspective moving forward. So
What's the authority on that? Is
What
it
do you mean?
required by the state?
Yeah.
It is.
for some context, and if I misspeak on this, it's the state sets a minimum floor of a maximum contribution that an employee can be forced to make. So we can extend ourselves and give a better benefit package to a public official, but we cannot
Give a
go
lower.
below that
Yeah,
threshold,
less.
right? And so this is an acknowledgement that we're taking advantage of that exception to give better benefits to our staff. And that's where I'm saying that, again, I think as a collective, because we haven't previously looked at this, we should inform ourselves. But for the purposes of this year, we need the approval.
Okay?
Is that why we're doing it retroactively,
Yeah.
3 years ago? So we haven't done it since 2022?
Well, no, we've been doing it, we just never brought it to council. It's been getting filed every year, it's just council hasn't been taking action on it.
And this is
Okay.
part of the collective bargaining agreement
Yeah.
contracts that you
Okay.
guys are familiar with and
Yeah,
approved.
Yeah, we've been doing it, we just haven't been bringing it to council.
okay.
So, and yes, finance committee here is gonna probably start meeting again in the next 2 weeks to start looking at budget, so yes, we will get finances committee's eyes on that. Okay, so, we took 4 of these items off the agenda, so let's just go through them one by one. The first one, it just has to do with the control order. When the control order got written up, it looks like it's calling for stop signs at 2 locations. And I thought we only approved the stop signs at the Brandingham location. I'm looking at the package that was submitted in October, which I believe we approved in totality as presented. And again, it only had
I think there
the
was,
stop sign at Brandingham and crosswalks at Brandingham and Normandy, and then the crosswalk at Brandingham was, has also been questioned, but we were gonna defer that one to the traffic engineers, that one, to determine whether that, something like that was appropriate. But if you go to the picture of the slide at Normandy, it didn't call for, no, that's Woodlore,
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
right.
what did the minutes say?
It was
I think
just
we approved
Brandingham.
3 of them.
It was just Brandingham.
The stop signs that you're previously talking about were,
The one on
no, sorry, there
Woodlore
weren't.
and Franklin.
It was only crosswalks, it wasn't stop signs.
Woodlore and Franklin?
Stop, there was only crosswalks. I mean, go
This
to
is
it.
Normandy and Wellington.
Yeah. So I think what President Goldberg's saying is that in our packet, it's making a recommendation for stop signs to be at both Normandy and Brandingham, but in our last council meeting, we had only discussed stop signs at
Right,
Brandingham.
we didn't approve stop signs at this intersection, and the traffic control order that they want us to approve is calling for stop signs at that intersection. I just want to correct the control order to properly reflect, not suggesting making any
Yeah.
changes, and whether these proposed crosswalk signs are ever installed, those aren't traffic control signs, so that's, would be done separately. But I just wanted to make the record clear on that previous sheet that Evan had up, where it should only be one of the intersections, it's there, and in the 2 places that it's in the packet, that top one should be struck when we certify it.
We
Anyone?
can't have both?
I mean,
What can we
that's-
have? Well, we didn't approve both, that's a
Yeah.
separate, I
Yeah.
mean, whether we can have it is, it's completely
Okay, so we
separate issue.
only approved the Brandingham one?
Correct.
Okay,
I'm not
that's
saying we
fine.
can't have it. If you guys want to bring it back at a later date, we did vet it out and conclude that,
I think we were saying like traffic would slow, so we might not need excessive stop signs.
right, I mean,
Okay.
that would be 3 stop signs
Yeah.
in a
Yeah, right. in the row.
600-foot stretch.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just wanted to clarify that. If Infrastructure Committee can bring anything back at any time for
I think you're
consideration.
right. Yeah, I think that's right.
And I had Evan check the minutes before the meeting. We basically approved this packet.
Yeah.
Okay, so I could get a motion to approve the traffic control order 25-05 with the revision of removing the Normandy reference. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
If I can get a second.
Angelina, second.
I did, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Angelina. Motion by Goldberg, second by Sulaka. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent. So David, you asked to pull the annual retirement system report, Form 5572.
Yeah, nothing too substantive on it. The one thing that I'm hoping for is, for background for this, again, we have to maintain a certain level of 60%. We were well below that for a long time and had filed for a grant specifically for the purposes of bringing us closer to the 60. And so I was just hoping that we could, for the next council meeting, get a trend report, just so that we understand where we've been over the past 3 years, to see if we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, I can pull out the retirement systems
Okay,
report and see if there's something in there.
perfect, thank you.
Trend from what period, like what period?
I think over the past, when did we start? Pam, David, do you remember when we got the,
The grant,
yeah,
I would say,
within 5 years.
yeah, I would have said about
Okay.
3 years ago.
Would be
Yeah.
fairly easy
So
to
you want to go
find.
back to 22?
yeah,
Yeah,
So we were below the 60%, you said?
yeah.
way below, yeah.
And then we got a grant, because for communities that were below, there was an
Apply.
opportunity the
Okay.
state
State
gave
money.
you to like, give you a boost. We took the boost.
Okay,
And now we just want to make sure that we're not falling off too
sure,
far.
understood.
Is there a vesting schedule, or is this just for officers, or is it for employees too? And what's the vesting schedule, do you know?
Yeah, I'm sure there is a vesting schedule. I'm not sure what it is right off the top of
Okay.
my head, but I could get that information for you. Do you know what it is, Kurt, for the police officers,
think the-
vesting on the DB?
I think the other thing that maybe the finance committee should probably take a look at on this is, we've got a goal. There's no penalty from the state to not hitting the 60%. But I think that as a village, it would be worth a discussion to have a commitment or create some level of commitment to hitting that 60%. There have been times in past years, quite a long time ago, the council allocated a cash, and some extra cash toward MERS. I know that there's, this isn't a hard and fast thing, but I don't think we can count on grants such as the one that surprised us a few years ago. But as we take a look at our overall financial condition, we may need to do that in the future, depending on what our revenues are. So I'd like to just reserve that one for the finance committee to talk through.
And there could be different alternatives too, when you read through their annual reports on how to increase that or decrease that, depending on where the city or where the village is going.
Okay, appreciate it, thank you.
Because it's not necessarily an advantage for us to try and exceed that
Yeah,
threshold.
for sure.
So
Right.
that's why I want to just have a conversation
Yeah.
about it.
Because do you guys ever meet with I don't know, we had a separate pension board at West Bloomfield. Of course, we were a lot bigger.
Yeah.
But, so I'm not sure how you get the information because all of this is run through MERS. And so when you're going through the reports, is it ever communicated back to you guys?
No.
So maybe we should have, like, MERS come in if you're interested to go over the report to see where we are, and then any of the different alternatives for funding or anything like that would be included in that.
Okay.
And that gives you a lot of really good information to be able to make decisions, future decisions.
Okay. I'll defer to the finance committee on that. As they deep dive into it, they can
Yeah.
figure out whether or not that's valuable.
I apologize. There's a question about vesting, and I don't know if I understood it correctly. Are you asking when does,
Yeah, like, how long does the employee or officer have to be with the village?
okay, I found an old collective bargaining agreement. I don't think any changes to it. No one, but it's 10 years. of
Yeah,
service.
Kurt just mentioned that it was.
Is that for officers?
Correct.
Is it separate for employees?
Employees don't have a a defined benefit plan.
Okay, so we don't contribute to your retirement?
We do to the 457 contribution.
Okay.
And so, but that's,
And you don't have to serve a set amount of time in order
No,
to,
they get
as
that.
far as I know, it's immediate.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's immediate.
okay.
Anything
All right.
else?
No further questions? All right, we need a motion to receive and file the annual retirement system report, Form 5572.
So moved.
Got a motion by Ferris. Second by King. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you. So the last two items, reapproval of the second reading of the open burn ordinance and the ordinance for wireless telecommunication facilities. So Evan, I just want to clarify this and have you correct it. So we did this 2 months ago for another ordinance. So when we reapprove these right now, you've got to change this. This is going to have to be, the open burning is going to have to be 2026-01 and 2026-02. We haven't done any other actions yet this year, because they'll be obviously retroactive from when we do it now, and then you post in the time period.
I'd like to make a motion so that way we can prevent the slippage of codification of ordinances. Can we, as council, like, get a confirmation after we approve ordinances that they've been codified correctly?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I'm just saying, it's been
Evan's
like.
been on top of it.
No, I know you have, but like, what control are we gonna have in place so that this doesn't happen? Because if Evan leaves, or if we get a different person who's in charge, we just wanna make sure that we don't have to backtrack, like
No,
you've had been doing.
Absolutely, I guess that's gonna be.
Even though we had
that-
a excellent.
I mean, I guess
clerk and
internally,
administrator.
our administrator needs to also keep a tickler on when we approve ordinances, and then we as a body, after, whenever, and we don't approve, more than a handful of ordinances a year. If we approve an ordinance, we should, as a legal committee at a minimum, confirm,
Yeah.
and that's what we'll begin to do, is confirm that
Like have
the
an annual
clerk
report or something.
did all of the codification processes in order to make them enforceable and enactable.
Is there certain, like, statute of limitations that if it's not codified within a set amount of time, the council has to revote?
Well, we are revoting right now.
I know, but like, what was the window that, but for?
I believe in our
30
previous
days
discussion, we
past.
just said to make sure that we have a clean record, we're doing the reapproval.
Right, I mean, once you guys approve it, there's 20 days, well, I have to publish it within a certain,
Okay.
within 20 days.
And once that
Once
lapses?
that it's not published. and-
Yeah,
So it's
okay.
no longer, okay.
And I think that's where the disconnect was, it was not published.
It was not
They
published.
were not published, right.
They were never published, none of them.
Right.
Yeah, the 2025 and the end of
2024.
24.
Yeah.
So
When
are
we
there
were
more-
going through transition is when things,
Will there be more ordinances we have to reapprove, or?
But
I
2024
don't
was,
know the answer, I have to look,
Okay.
but I,
no, I don't
12 months.
believe so.
maybe between,
I mean, you
I don't
should,
wanna
you
do-
should do a run-through of all the 25 ordinances. We already checked 24. That was something that
Heather did that.
Heather did during the interim piece, which led to cleaning up those two. But you should probably go through, see the however many ordinances we approved in 25, and make sure that each of those were properly taken care of. Because you guys didn't get here till almost the end of the year. Okay? So let's do these one at a time. I need a motion to reapprove the second reading of ordinance 2026-01, open burning.
So moved.
second,
Motion by King, second by Salaka. Further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And then we need a motion to reapprove the second reading of ordinance 2026-02, wireless telecommunications facilities.
David, 2025, not 6.
No, we're calling them 2026 now.
Yeah, we
It's
are.
We're renaming
Essentially a
them.
new
Because the
ordinance.
rules- yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So, yeah, reapproval of second reading of ordinance 2026-02, wireless telecommunication facilities. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Solly,
Second.
second by King. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you, everybody.
thanks, Evan.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Evan, for getting that. So, all right, so, Rain is not here yet, so let's move on to new business. We'll have to obviously skip A as well. So, we need to do some adjusting of our committees / subcommittees. We want to do some clarifications on the names that Rachel brought to our attention, but Former trustee Seltzer sat on 1, 2, 3, sat in 4 different seats. So each of those need to be replaced. They are, so the first one is the Birmingham Next representative. Mike was the lead representative, Dan was the second. Did you guys kind of do it like, did you both go to the meetings?
We never both went to the same meeting,
That's what I
but
thought.
when Michael was away, I covered him.
Right, so, I was, so we need to have someone replace Mike on Birmingham Next. Someone needs to replace Mike on Birmingham Youth Assistance. Someone needs to remove Mike on Liquor Control. And then someone needs to replace Mike on Main Street.
So are we only talking about Mike's positions?
No, we can talk about any of these. I have 1 or 2 I'd like to see if anyone would be agreeable to switching. But if anybody like wants to get off of a committee, this would be a good time to do it. Somebody isn't comfortable being the liaison anymore, this would be the time to address it. Otherwise, no, at a minimum, we just have to deal with
Oh, well.
Mike.
Yeah, because the other thing too is when we initially made these assignments, trustee Ferris also wasn't appointed at the time, so we weren't able to properly consider his skill sets either. So I do think that we shouldn't limit it to just
No,
what.
I was not.
Yeah.
I was totally gonna open this up to anybody that either wanted to make a suggestion or remove themselves. But those are the 4 that we actually have
Yep.
holes on. The other thing, just for clarification, which Evan can clean up on the next draft of this, Rachel was sort of clarifying to us that the way that a subcommittee of the council should actually be called a subcommittee. We've been calling all of these legal committees. They're technically legal subcommittees of council. Subcommittee is made up of trustees serving in a non-majority, in a non-quorum setting. So the legal committee, the personnel committee, the liquor control committee, the infrastructure committee should technically be subcommittees. If they're bodies that are not just made up of trustees, but are made up of, whether it's planning commissioner, residents, or what have you, those would be committees. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Those would actually be committees. So the deer management group that we're considering today would be a deer management committee, because it's gonna potentially have people on it that are not, it is not made up solely of trustees. And the same would be the same for the Green Committee, potentially. So I was just doing that for a matter of clarification as we move forward, and we're properly identifying each of these bodies. And then again, a liaison is still a liaison. So, how do you want to, any thoughts, David, since you've been discussing, thoughts on how you guys want to do this? Do we want to deal with Mike's first? Do we want to go through each of these again and just revisit each of them?
Yeah, I think going through it. Sorry.
I personally don't have a problem doing this annually. I think it's a good thing. And 2 years in a certain committee is a long time. Maybe you want to roll over and get a taste of something else. Maybe you found in the course of the year it's not great. Our charter only requires us to at least create our president pro tem and create our committees after each election cycle. But I do not have a problem if we as a board, every November, want to revisit. Now we're doing it because of the changes. But if we want to annually revisit it, I think it's a good idea and can kind of eliminate some burnout and get more eyes on various subject matters throughout the course of the year.
Yeah.
So, cable board, I'm assuming we're going to keep the same, unless any of you guys want on that one. I
Who
think
is that?
You know, Rick
it's
David's doing
Rick
an
David.
amazing job.
He's doing a
I
great
think he is
job.
too.
I recall when I was on it, they meet like pretty early in the morning. So, if anybody wants to volunteer to replace David, Rick, David, let me know, but I think we're covered there.
Can we focus on like the 4 main committees and make sure there's like,
No, we're absolutely gonna. I wanna,
Okay.
let's, these
Do the more
next
ad hoc
two, well,
ones.
yeah, so the next is Birmingham Next.
these are
We need to
smaller.
get Jeff involved into some of these committees. An easy thing is just have Jeff step into Mike's shoes in each of those 4 locations, with the exception of on Birmingham Next, kind of flip-flopping it. If that works for your schedule. I don't
Yeah,
want to
but,
create.
well, real quick though, I get what trustee Slock is saying, which is like, is we come up with priority rather than starting at like Birmingham Next, which is an external representative or a liaison. Start with like, what are the core policy things?
Okay,
Right?
I'm fine with that.
And then from there, we can figure out, all right, based off of bandwidth, how do we then slot into more of that liaison role?
Okay. So you're saying start with Finance Subcommittee?
Yeah, like I see it as like, there's 4 main committees, which are like the Finance Committee, the Legal Committee, the People Committee, and the Infrastructure Committee, because those are the ones that are gonna have like major policy impacts, sorry, subcommittees. The Liquor Control Subcommittee is more of an ad hoc, so I don't consider that in the same group. It's like when things come up, we meet, but I think for core policy considerations, we should consider finance, legal, personnel, and infrastructure.
I think there also should be some continuity amongst representation on those committees as well. We should have some equitability on assignments for those large committees, if we're up to me.
Absolutely, equitability and what's that, in like balancing it out?
Yep.
Yep, and agreed. And when we did this a year ago, that was obviously something that we took into consideration then, and everybody was on at least one of what you just called the major committees. Many of us were on 2 of those, and between that and a liaison, we were trying to max out at about 3.
Like I see Dan, I think you're only on one of those subcommittees, correct?
Yeah, that infrastructure.
Yep.
Correct. He's also but he also has to do the historic liaison, so we also got to consider
Sure, I'm
someone's
talking about,
time.
like,
We're talking about the
Right.
4
No,
committees.
no, I agree, no, I agree with that.
Committees With policy
Yep,
weight. I mean, the other committees, yes, I'm not diminishing their importance, but I think from a policy standpoint, if we're looking at what we are elected to do, and we are the policy-making body, these would be the 4 that become the priority items.
Yeah, so if there's 4 committees, 3 on each committee, that's 12 spots. There's 7 of us. So everyone should have a maximum of 2, and then
The
2
one thing I will, just
trustees will only have 1 spot.
to that point though, so I would like to stay on planning unless somebody else wants to take that. I feel like I've had a good relationship. And that is an obligation
agree?
of a monthly cadence, similar to a committee. So I'm good with, because if there's,
Because that's a policy liaison role, though.
well,
so
it's not a policy because I'm just restating what this
it's a
collective
standing
body.
meeting.
Yeah,
And a
it's a standing meeting, so
dedicated
I'm,
time.
I'm happy to just serve on one council, or sorry, one.
But also too, if we were appointing someone just based on current assignments, Mike held 0 of those 4 committee assignments, subcommittee assignments.
Right.
So there technically would be nothing to easily appoint him into if we're just doing a 1-to-1 swap.
Well, yeah, I don't think we are though, right?
No, I think, yeah.
That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
Let's go deeper
It's
dive into those
equitability.
4.
Dan
Yeah.
has 1 assignment, Mike had 0.
Yeah, David and Pam both had 3.
And just for my own humor, I saw that Rick David walked in and we just volunteered him for one of the positions, so I thought I would at least call that out as we.
Oh, Rick is actually on
Thank you, Rick.
finance too.
He's on finance as
But he was
well.
on cable.
So that's one of the things that, not to demote you, I apologize, but for the finance, the major
It's
4,
like, let's stay in an order. We started it really out well, and we're bouncing around.
that's what I'm saying, right?
Okay.
So like, when we talk about those core 4,
Yeah.
because they're policy-making bodies, the council members should be the official members of that body. Rick David would be like a standing consultant to that body, right? So if you're taking votes, he's not taking policy votes. That still remains the responsibility of the council.
So that's kind of what he does now.
Correct.
I think that is what he does.
Rick's background is what's
Yeah,
Yeah.
1,000%. I understand, and
us laymen.
an incredible resource, without question.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about as far as, I have not been in a finance committee, so I don't know its operation, but that's how I was thinking about it.
Maybe
Okay,
we start with those four.
so, all right, I mean, being the president of the village, I think I need to be on the legal committee and the finance committee. So I personally have no problem taking myself off of the personnel committee so that I'm not on 3 of those bodies. So an opening can open up on personnel committee.
Can we talk about that?
You can talk about who you want to replace it with. You don't have to talk about me going away, because I'm going away.
It is massively helpful to have someone with a legal background when we start talking about any employment scenarios, because they do start to intersect with law. So Dan, I don't mean to tell you or ask you, but it would be helpful, because those decisions tend to, at some point, come close to.
Well, let me
Legal
throw a thought in as well. I'm also on HR committee, and I'd like to withdraw from that committee.
Now-
So that leaves 2 openings, and
And for Dan, I know time is obviously a big deal. Personnel committee, the 3 of us had a huge role in the course of the last 4 months. Let's hope that's not the case for a short minute. And,
I don't feel like I should step away from personnel. 'cause
no, I don't think you
feel
should,
like-
you should step away at all, because that's why you're there, is because that's your forte. But if Pam and I go away, that's an opportunity for
2 new people.
2 new people to go
The only
on
thing
that.
is, David, as president, do you think that, because you kind of oversee the village staff and you're like day-to-day, that should be, just because you would have more insight?
Again, I have no problem staying on the 3. I was suggesting getting off personnel. I'm not leaving the legal committee.
Yeah, of course
So, I have no problem also not being on finance committee and staying on the personnel committee, if that is also in an effort to try and keep us at no more than 2 spots in any of those 4 roles. I can go that route as well.
Are there any subcommittees that people would really like to be a part of?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
start with that.
I would like legal. I like legal. I like legal and ordinances.
Then you were done with you then? I
Yep.
think. Okay.
I'm good.
Dan?
Yeah, to your kind suggestion, I do have some employment law experience, and
Oh,
I-
well,
I would.
perfect. You really hit the ball on that one, didn't you, Dan?
I would be happy to also serve on the personnel committee, but I think that we should probably make an adjustment and take me off of either Historic District Commission or next, if I'm gonna remain on infrastructure as well.
How has historic been going? I mean, did you get a feel for it? You did it for a year. I don't know how many times they actually met during the year. If do they meet pretty regularly?
Most of the months, yeah.
Okay, good.
Meet every month.
I think
They
every
do.
month
Oh,
but
yeah,
one,
no,
I
it's
think it
ZBA
is.
the ZBA that isn't
Yeah.
always consistent. Anybody super interested on replacing Dan on historic? Again, it's a 1 evening a month commitment.
It's, what day of the month is it?
It's
Wednesday?
the first Wednesday of the month, if I'm correct, right? First Wednesday of the month.
Something, I think Wednesdays, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just wondering, do you have to be in person? Do you speak during the meetings, or you just observe?
Just observe, basically, it's the liaison role.
Do they have you do like updates from council? They used to want, when I had that job, they liked to have an update.
No, They haven't asked that of me
Okay.
specifically.
It's a short meeting,
Yeah,
Jeff.
I'm happy to
It's
join.
less than an
Yeah.
hour typically, not a big
Let's do that.
obligation.
Then Jeff's a liaison. That'll get him at least to learn that body.
Yeah, it's great.
If it's helpful, I've got this in the Word document, if you want me to just send this.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Do you have a big committee that you want to?
So then, we're putting Dan on personnel. Pam's suggesting going away.
And then Pam has both
Oh,
finance and
Angelina.
legal. Are you good with both of those?
So, anybody else for personnel committee?
We have an opening on personnel?
Do you wanna hang with
Do you
me?
want to be on?
I'm
wanna
happy
be on
to,
finance,
I'm
'cause
happy
that
to
was
either
your-
personnel or finance, whichever makes the most sense.
Do you have a preference between the two?
No strong preference.
That was not a trick question, I promise.
Let's put Jeff in Pam's spot on the personnel committee.
Okay.
So then you'll be our new liaison and you'll be on personnel. Personnel is gonna be Jeff, Abby, and Dan. Legal committee. Anybody dying to get on the legal committee? And really, if Pam just lost personnel, that should be Pam's two positions. We'll keep legal committee the same. So what's personnel we have?
Finance committee, what if we? Well,
Infrastructure.
Wanna be on?
Infrastructure, yeah.
So infrastructure has been you three.
I am traveling quite a bit more this year. I would not be heartbroken to give up infrastructure. I don't think I've been able to give it the attention it needed.
So if Abby went off
I
infrastructure.
can, I mean, I'd be happy to take Abby's spot on infrastructure then. And then that's,
That
we're
would
saying
be,
two big committees for each.
yeah. So that would be Jeff on infrastructure.
So Jeff has two, Pam has two, Angelina has two.
Pam has two, Jeff has two, Angelina has two, Dan has two, Pam has two, I have two. You're the only one with one.
I'm not, again,
Your schedule
I
is,
am
you're,
traveling.
yeah, I mean, you have the most challenging schedule because you're running your own business.
Yeah, so I'll be, I mean, traveling at least a week a month this year, so.
So do I have my own business as well.
No,
I
I mean,
just
I
don't
get that.
have
I
the
mean,
same
we all do.
commitment
No, I
that
mean,
Abby
I have my own businesses as well. But yeah, she has, her time commitments are very scattered. So if,
But I'll stay in the subcommittee, because the Green
Oh, the
Community
Green-
Project is a subcommittee,
Yeah, that would be cool.
and that's reasonable.
right, and we're gonna name that next. So, all right, so infrastructure's,
I hate to interject. I recall a few years ago, we had a resolution about personnel and committees and people throwing in applications. Do you guys want to consider that, or are you going to proceed?
For,
I thought we clarified that it was.
what are we
Yeah.
talking about?
Just for committees, subcommittees?
Well, committees of our own board? No.
Okay, do you guys accept that?
We have, Deer Committee and Green Committee are separate items on the agenda, and yes, we're not necessarily appointing people to those. We're gonna decide if we're gonna even create those. And I see Rena is here. So let's just, no, there's no applicants for any of these bodies. These are all council represented bodies.
I agree
So,
with however you want to proceed, but I just didn't want to, I didn't know if you want to open it up to other applicants.
What was the resolution?
It was the DEI resolution, if I recall that.
Oh, well, the DEI
No.
resolution was for appointments, right?
it was for appointments to committees. It wasn't a resolution, it was a guidelines.
Guideline, yes.
And that did not apply to anything having to do with our internal to council. That was only when residents want to apply for an open position, we had a procedure for announcing it, posting it, submitting applications. That's the whole 30-day.
Did you guys have residents on the streetscape committee and stuff, like formal?
Mhm.
And they applied and you guys,
No,
The
it was
streetscape
before, that was
started as
before
there
It
was
was
a
before.
there was a huge committee of
Yeah.
multiple people, residents, planning commission.
nothing formal, just informal, like people would come in and out of it?
I don't know, I was a planning commissioner at the
Oh,
time.
There were different committees for different points in the process. There was a core, the roads committee was one committee, but there was also a three-person council committee that was the streetscape committee.
Just
That was
of
a standing-
council?
Yeah, just of
Okay,
council with the
okay.
administrator, yeah.
Okay. And then that was what, the infrastructure committee?
No, it was the
Came out of-
streetscapes, yeah, well, probably,
Yeah,
I suppose.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so, I think
Yeah,
so.
that's what we talked about, okay.
All right, so I think for the major four, I think we have it listed. I think we're good.
Abby, you want to confirm what you've got for finance?
Yep, Pam, Angelina, and DG. David Goldberg. Legal, Pam, David, and both Davids. Personnel, me, Dan, and Jeff. Infrastructure, Jeff, Angelina, and Dan.
Great.
Good.
Yep.
Do we
If
still
anyone
need the
wants to
labor
be on
control?
infrastructure, do you want a second committee? Abby?
I thought-
Or Abby just stepped down?
I thought Jeff was on it.
Oh, I know, but you only have one.
No, because I got planning.
Okay.
So you saying move off of infrastructure, but I know you want to be part of, but you want to be part of the
I
green
was just
committee?
saying, I mean, I'll be the one to take one committee, I don't care. Because I'm on it for longer, right? If you wanted to do
No, I'm
something
good.
like the
Abby
last
was-
8 months on council.
I don't know,
I
are
would
you
good
talking
with
to
it.
David or?
No,
or talking to me?
David.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good with
Okay.
it.
Okay. So then infrastructure, Jeff, Angelina, and Dan. All right, so let's go back to the top and make sure we're keeping these. Birmingham Area Cable Board, we're keeping Rick David. Birmingham Next, so we have Dan, who I think, so can you make it work to be the one who goes everyone and move you to the number one spot? And have Jeff as your backup when you can't make it? Flip-flop
We
that,
can do that.
since you've been doing it, would make more sense.
Do we need to go how often do we need to be there for the next?
It's expected that someone is there
It's expected,
at each
yeah.
meeting.
Yeah, okay. So there's someone from every municipality?
Yeah.
What's
usually.
the meeting cadence?
It's
Monthly?
monthly,
It's in the morning.
Same time?
yes.
Did they ask you to speak?
Yeah, we give a little update about happenings in Franklin.
What day is it? Do you know?
It's on a Monday.
Mondays are good, so I can be your backup.
Okay, yeah, it's at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so let's make it Dan and Jeff, with Dan as the lead and Jeff as the backup. And then, what's the deal with Birmingham Youth Assistance? Does that meet every, chief? Did-
It's second week of the month on Thursday morning. I'm at
And did Mike, when he was in town, go to every meeting?
I was gonna ask,
No?
are you, do you go?
I'm on the board, so yeah.
Why don't we
Could we
Why don't
just
just
have
make him
Chief?
our
Yeah,
liaison?
It's fine with me.
yeah.
Mike never went.
As long as you're allowed to be a liaison for us as well as serve on the board, that would be my preference.
And then if there's like a conflict where you feel like you need someone there, just ask.
Okay,
Yeah, just ask me, I would go. But
sounds good.
Perfect, thank
Thank
you.
you, Chief.
We're adding more hats back. You took them off, we're throwing new ones at you.
all right, so we're gonna have, let's do this. So let's make Chief Lawson the liaison, and then I'll be his backup. My schedule is flexible enough. If he calls me in the morning and says I can't make it, I'll go. Fire representative. Anybody want that? You're welcome to it. If not, I will continue to do it.
My vote would be that you continue.
Yeah, maybe
just
with
because
what's
there's
going
a lot of
on,
things.
yeah, with what we've got going on in the next few months with them, we should probably keep
Yeah.
it that way. Historic, we've moved Jeff. Planning's gonna stay David. We've got finance, we've got legal, we've got personnel. Liquor control.
We don't have liquor licenses anymore.
So we should still keep the
Right,
board
yeah.
open. I would like to stay on it just for the continuity of the one liquor license that we gave. I was on the board at the time. So for continuity of
Maybe you want to
the,
be on that as just another, to have you replace Mike?
Sure.
I think the other thing that could come up with liquor, with the licenses, is we may
Yeah,
decide to change the
DDA.
charter.
Oh, okay.
There's also
There's also other
social districts,
licenses
other
that somebody could
licenses.
apply for, or try and bring a license in that we would still need the
Yep.
committee to review, so
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a more visible,
Yeah,
I would
I
hope
hope
so.
so, right? I mean-
I would hope so, that would be great, that means businesses are trying to come in
Yeah.
and serve alcohol in
hope
open restaurants.
Right.
Pam, I think we just have, you were just appointed to the Land Bank Authority Board, right? So that one
Me?
shouldn't change. Yeah, I thought, no?
oh, that was a year ago. I'm still on it until November, yeah.
I was thinking, what's the one in Farmington? Isn't there something, a board you serve on in Farmington?
No, I don't think so. No, just the county.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so liquor control is gonna be David, Abby, and Dan. Infrastructure, Jeff, Angelina, and Dan. Main Street Franklin liaisons. So Mike has to be replaced. Angelina, what are your thoughts on that? I personally, in one of these two spots, think we need to move Pam back into the liaison. She's got more of a pulse on this than anyone, understands it better than most of us, and I know that they themselves would probably enjoy having Pam as liaison, but we do need to have a second. So Angelina,
Yeah, as long as they post their meetings.
Yeah, I mean, so,
Like,
so this
there's a
is,
huge issue with
well,
this.
hold up one second. This is my take on it, is it's totally fine as long as they include both members of council.
And the administrator and the clerk.
It can't be just communicating with one.
agreed, and I think Rachel has had meetings with them to voice dissatisfaction with the way that it's being run in that exclusionary nature now.
What's happening? I don't,
Can you give an
Well,
update,
I mean,
Rachel?
Frankly, they've sort of phased Angelina out.
The village,
And
they
they've
phased
still
out the village.
Yeah. I mean,
Rachel and Evan too.
Yeah.
And they don't post the meetings, they don't post the minutes, and they don't accept resident applications because Jeff applied and he didn't get a response either. So I'm not sure where they think the money is coming from, but our taxes.
Right, which is part of why we were hoping to have started today. Unfortunately, John was sick. But I think that all goes hand in hand with us better understanding Main Street and better understanding what the liaison role is with Main Street and working with Main Street to make sure that their bylaws and how they're operating are tight and have been updated and have been reviewed. So,
in an ideal world, what would this look like? So if, like, what role would the both of you have? Just take council out of it. What should our village administrative staff, what kind of role should they have in a Main Street body? I'm asking, I don't know.
so right now, we don't have, even though it's budgeted, we do not have a Main Street director, nor do we have anyone serving in economic development. Rachel and Evan have offered and have the skill sets to, for the time being, serve in those capacities. Rachel in working with them on economic development, Evan working with them on some of the other matters, particularly their event planning and community engagement stuff. So,
I think we should.
yes, they need to be included, absolutely, and that's part of what we need to make sure is clear with Main Street, is that they are, at the end of the day, still an extension of us, and that we created it, and
So if
I'm
there
good.
isn't
Need
that
to-
mutual, if there is a lack of accountability and that is not happening today, why would we still give this time? Why would we?
well, we are a Main Street community.
They can't
so-
exist without us.
Right, so unless
They
we
have to be
decide
linked
to
to
no
a
longer be a
municipality.
Main Street community, we have to operate, we have to have a board,
Yeah.
we have to have
And-
certain procedures in place in
I
order.
get that.
Yeah.
but,
Well-
like, this feels like a waste of time and resources if there isn't that today. So structurally, something would have to change.
So this is my thoughts on it, which is, it's mutually beneficial, right? Like, they want to operate and they're connected to our village, and we want to be a village that has a main street that's functional. And so
I get that.
it's,
I agree with you.
and that's where I'm saying, yes, I'm fine with this, but there have been circumvention of village staff and our liaison in these communications. And so I think what we're not gonna do is say, well, we'll put Pam in there and then we can still ice out the three, but they're working with the village because they're talking with Pam. No, the expectation is they talk with all four of them. And that is a hardline stance.
Okay, no, agreed.
I absolutely agree with that. I can't explain, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm not plugged in. I am plugged in some respects, but not at what happens in that board. But I absolutely assure you that if what I'm hearing from Rachel and Angelina is true, that's inappropriate and needs to change.
So how does it change? Because
can we
now
take a-
what I want to avoid is, these are however many people who have careers and commitments, and if the expectation is that they're gonna serve to the best of their ability as a liaison to this committee or subcommittee or whatever it's called, if we don't fix the structure or establish accountability, then we are just throwing good time after bad. Like, and so until we do that, I would elect that we don't make any appointments until we've established standard operating
I
procedures and
agree
SLAs.
with trustee Gates, and I would take a motion that we appoint Rachel Main Street Director. So it's very clear to them that she is the Main Street Director. We make that motion, and then once she gets plugged in, once she restructures it, she no longer has the finance entire function of her job, and then she can figure out what she needs, come back to the board and say, you need 2 liaisons, you need 1 board member and a liaison, and Evan can be her backup. And so she's acting Main Street Director, but for all intents and purposes, we appoint her director. They don't have a director right now. We need a director. They need to know that they are accountable to the village.
I could be wrong, but I thought, I wasn't here 2 meetings ago, but I thought the action the council took was to ask for a period of time for Rachel and Evan to step into and operate economic development in Main Street while they were, until they were able to come back to us with a recommendation on a hire.
But she can't do that if she's being iced out. So when we appoint her Main Street Director, she runs the meetings.
Well,
They
that-
have to work with her. Like, it's been 6 months of going rogue.
Is that reasonable?
I'm not sure I see it that way. What?
Let's take a vote.
Well,
reasonable.
let's
It is
deal with this and we can
Okay.
come back to a separate motion.
Okay.
What is the
so-
upside, so let's consider it this way. The upside of going that way would be what? And I'm asking Rachel.
The upside of going that way is that I would be involved. At this point, I'm not involved. I'm not on their email communications. I have no idea what they're doing internally. So I think it would be helpful if I could make thoughtful recommendations to this board because I'm actually there and I know what I'm talking about. At this point, I can't say that I do.
And you could theoretically advocate for the village to make like financial commitments to Main Street because you've got some understanding of what their plan might be annually.
Right.
The downside would be what?
It will take time away from my duties as village administrator.
Is that time well spent?
If
If
they
it's not
don't make her
overwhelmed, yeah. and if
chase
it-
her
yeah,
tail,
if it's-
like that's.
If it's effective.
That's why I think we need to take a motion, because we have to appoint her Main Street Director, because I agree with you, Abby, and you, like, I don't want you chasing your tail, asking them, when are you meeting? Like, send me the agenda, or, oh, it's the location changed, or, like, that to me is a waste of resources. But investing in Main Street, and Main Street is a huge priority for us, isn't a waste of resources. That comes up all the time when you're talking to residents about enhancing downtown, bringing new businesses. And so I feel like having someone seasoned, experienced, and a former economic developer is time well spent.
And I think I remember when we talked about the economic development director, when we put the pause in that role, the intention was you had just started in this role, get your feet under you, you had that background coming in anyway, and at that point you'd be able to decide how would we allocate dollars to salaries is this the real need, or might there be something else 6 months down the road when you have a full understanding of the picture that those dollars might be better spent on? Right.
Part of what I had hoped on was that our workshop earlier today would not have been unfortunately canceled, so that when this item came up, we would all be freshly educated on the
I agree, we had a
on the
babysitter and
purposes-
everything.
on the purposes of Main Street. So, what I'm gonna suggest for purposes of this vote is that our Main Street liaisons be Evan and Rachel, as you guys are suggesting. And we don't take any action on an economic development director right now. I don't know if that's something
No,
that
but can
we
we
have to
make a
have.
Main Street director instead of just a liaison? Because
Well-
they will assert the bylaws and liaisons are not part of the board, and that's
Do
what they
we
did.
know whether or not we can do that? Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like, Meg was the Main Street director, and then Susan was the Main Street director. And so,
But can we?
Was
appoint-
that-
Susan was a staff person.
Was that a?
You were the liaison.
No, what I'm saying though is,
she was their Main Street.
we hired an economic development director, regardless of what the title was. You can title it whatever you want. If we take a motion to make Rachel the Main Street director, does that provide any authority within Main Street? Because otherwise, just liaison accomplishes the exact same thing.
Yeah, what authority would it add that she doesn't already have as the village administrator?
They don't recognize her authority. That's what she's saying. They don't recognize her authority. They are telling her she's not allowed at meetings, she can't know when they are, and she can't participate even by observation.
But
So they
why?
don't recognize her authority as
Why
the
would that make any
administrator.
sense? I mean, wouldn't you want partnership with the village who now evangelizes what
They
you're
don't
doing
live
and
in
supports you,
Franklin, so.
applies for grants on your behalf, potentially? I don't understand then this is a genuine question. Why? Does anyone know the answer to that?
Control, power,
I think
autonomy.
we don't know.
We don't know.
That's
We
what I'm
don't.
saying, I'm throwing it out there. Control, power, autonomy,
Right, which goes more to just to the heart of Main Street.
lack of oversight.
Franklin entirely, and how the board operates, and questions that I've been also asking, which better describes what their membership is, and better describes how you become a part of Main Street, and what is the role of the board of directors, and better understanding their legal existence. I think those are all things that we need to all better understand. And that was part of what we were gonna have John explain to us, is how it all is supposed to work, and how it works in, I don't know, lack of a better term, an ideal Main Street, Oakland County community. Show us what
Yeah, what is-
show us what the tree looks like, and
What are the
see-
processes? What are the
Yeah, and
cadence?
see-
There
to what
is a
extent
really
we can-
helpful Main Street, Oakland County website, I will say, that like says, it's about like placemaking, it's about community space, it's about, and it says all these ideal
And
things.
that's somewhere where we should all go. We got to the
And
point
there's a
where
gap.
we didn't want to rely on us having to go do outside research, so we literally said, we're just gonna bring the horse
Person here, yeah.
right to the water and have him explain it to us, so.
And the PowerPoint was even good.
Yeah.
If you review the
Agreed. So
PowerPoint.
if we're agreeable on just letting Evan and Rachel be our liaisons, and if we want to, if
Can we
you think
make
it's
a
necessary
motion,
to
so
appoint,
if they exclude her from the
if
meetings?
we're, yeah, if we need
Let's
to
get through
appoint her.
this,
Okay.
so that
Yeah.
we can do an approval of this, and
Yeah.
if you have a subsequent
Yeah.
motion, let's
Get
do that.
this first. So we're
So-
gonna defer the liaisons to Main Street then?
No, we're gonna appoint Evan and Rachel as the liaisons.
Okay, I'm good.
So we have identified all of them. Do we need to read them again? I think we've read through them all.
Yep.
Evan, you've got it on the record. Abby, you've got it on the record. So we have readjusted Birmingham Area Cable Board, Birmingham Next, Birmingham Youth Assistance, Franklin Farms, Bingham Farms Fire Representative, Historic District Commission Liaison, Planning Commission Liaison, Finance Subcommittee, Legal Subcommittee, Personnel Subcommittee, Liquor Control Subcommittee, Infrastructure Subcommittee, and Main Street Franklin Liaisons. Those, all of those parties are on the record.
Do we have a ZBA?
What's that?
No one, we never had one when I was on CBA.
We're not on ZBA.
Because they can't, cause like,
Potential
There's
conflict.
a plan-
Yeah.
A planning commissioner sits
if
on
someone
ZBA.
appeals it, they have to go to circuit court.
Yeah, we're the legislative body, we can't also be on the judicial body. So, all right, so we have all of our appointments, if I can get a motion to
I have a
approve the
question.
appointments? Yep.
I feel like there's a need possibly for like a communications outreach engagement type sub, I'm not sure like what it's called, but
So-
things that come up.
Right now, we need to get to
Okay,
Rena, and we need to deal with this.
okay.
I have no problem with the concept.
I was
If you
just
have your
thinking,
hands, if you
everyone
got your
loved-
hands around it.
No, everyone loved when you did the library meet and greet, so I was just thinking like doing like quarterly of those with the community.
I would love to
Okay.
do those when possible, but it's a
Okay.
little bit out of the confines of what we're trying to accomplish here.
Okay.
So let's get these appointments in place. We have them on the record. If I can get a motion to approve them as presented.
Motion to approve as presented.
Seconded.
Motion by Solly, second by Ferris. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. So.
It's
I
fine.
think that's a great
We can talk
idea.
about
I think
it.
that's something we should get with Evan and Rachel on. Have them start putting together what something like that would look like, where it would be, how it would get posted.
It would only have to be like, it couldn't be more than 3 of us at one point, you know, but that's once a year, we just each attend it.
Correct. If we were meeting and taking actions of any sort, I mean, we can all be in a public place at the same
Yeah.
time, but we can't be discussing anything on the village.
Just because I feel like some of the residents want to talk longer than 3 minutes and, you know.
We can have everybody present as long as we post it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There can be more than 3 of you.
Okay.
Okay, so, all right, we've taken care of that. Now, let's go back to Rena and our annual audit. Hello, welcome
Good
back.
evening. Thank you for accommodating me. I appreciate you moving around the agenda a bit. But that was very interesting to be here for that.
Are you being facetious?
No, it's actually, it tells you a lot about the council, how you make decisions. It's actually very relevant to the auditor, so thank you.
You're welcome for the show.
No, you made some excellent points there. I mean, and it's very exciting to see your excitement, like going forward, how you want to change things or fix things or, you know. So that's also very much appreciative. I'm going to start off with saying we have new staff. They were kind of coming on board as we were starting out of field work. I just want to say a huge thank you to Rachel, Evan, Teresa. A huge thank you to Chief Lawson. He, you know, really like carrying the ball there for a big, good part of it. So thank you for everyone's cooperation. The audit went seamlessly, and that's thanks to everyone's help along the way. So jumping in, this is the village's annual audit for your fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025. You did receive an unmodified opinion, meaning no exceptions, disclaimers, nothing adverse to report. Starting off with a few highlights, taxable values, your largest source of revenue, of course, property taxes. You didn't raise your taxes, but the taxable values increased 6.8%, which you should be very happy with. It's very nice to see. The year before was just under 6.5%. And so this is beyond, you know, everyone assumed that everyone's getting a 5% increase in taxable value because of the inflation factors, but this is above and beyond that. So I think you would be very happy with that. State shared revenue, on the other hand, is a different story. It was pretty much flat, even decreased like 1.8% last year. The state is changing their formulas and that type of thing. They took action at their October 1st budget. So they are changing the formula a bit. They're trying to hold harmless for things like that. You want to add things like additional dollars for public safety, yet, you know, the roads, they're kind of moving all that around. I don't think those numbers have landed yet, but I think they're pretty close. I think you're probably just starting to see some numbers from the state, but no huge increases, I would say, to project for state shared revenue. The general fund balance did increase this year, $84,000, and you came in under budget, $249,000. The general fund ending fund balance at June 30th was $1.3 million. looking at, I also usually look at the, of course, your police fund, one of your largest expenditures in the village. Your expenditures actually came down from the year before, about $80,000. Now, some of that is capital, but you still did spend some money on capital this year. It was the police department generator this year. But still, it's, it's nice to see it's not a continual uptick. I know there are other plans going forward, but, everything's going up. Staffing, of course, always costs more, so it's nice to stay within. The major capital outlay within the village, other than police, was Broughton House furnace is included in this audit, the installation, and also the drainage assessment study is also included in here. You did pay down a significant amount of debt. Your principal, you paid down about $926,000, and that leaves $7.7 million left on the road debt, which is only 7 years left on that. That's yay. That's 2032 is the last payment on that one.
I think that's about on schedule, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. That's
Yes.
okay. Yeah, nothing unusual right there. It's
Nothing
going as
unusual,
planned.
nope.
Okay.
And it's, it seems like that just happened. So to me, it was kind of exciting to see 2032 isn't that far away. So, lastly, the net pension liability, you actually had a decrease of about $13,000, which pretty much for a pension plan means it was flat this year, but no significant increases, which is what we want to see. You had $404,000 of investment income, meaning we had a good day in the stock market at the end of the year. Looks like 12/31/25, which will be next year's audit, looks like that was a good day in the stock market, so hopefully those numbers will look good next year as well. You are 56% funded this year, up from 54%. And if you remember the prior year, the village did receive a Michigan pension grant of $479,000. That's in last year's audit, not this one. And also, if you're looking at the numbers, that last year was the last year of your American Rescue Plan, the ARPA grant money. So if the numbers look a little bit bigger in the revenue stream in 2024, that's why we didn't have that this year. But still, a very solid year, and you should be very pleased at how we ended the year this year. So with that, there was a lot of numbers. I'm happy to address any questions council may have.
So what was our overall, as far as red, black? Just across the board from net revenues to net expenditures?
Primarily, so the general fund funds the police fund. So police fund comes out zero every year.
Right.
So you added to the fund balance this year, and you're, $84,000. So you're to the good. You're to the black.
So we increased our general fund by 84,000?
Correct. Correct.
Which is probably unfilled positions.
Or the 3 months that we weren't paying salaries.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been after fiscal year end, though,
Oh,
Yeah.
And was that in?
because that was about July 1st.
and is
oh
that-
yeah, this ended June 30th.
Oh, June 30th?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought I heard
But
you
you
say.
took the stocks.
All right,
The stocks
She took
for the
stock
MERS
the last
plan
year.
are
Yeah.
valued as of December
got it,
31st each
okay,
year.
okay, thanks.
Was that expected or unexpected?
What, I'm sorry.
Being in the black, sorry.
No, expected.
Okay.
And you came in under budget. So you could have gone the other direction if you had completely, but you do budget pretty fiscally conservatively so that you don't, those were really capital things that you didn't spend money on at the end of the year, which is nice. The village does a really nice job. You do keep your operating expenditures very stable, and then you are doing projects within the village, which is what you should be doing as far as.
What was the deficit the year before?
It was not a deficit. You actually added 310,000
Yeah.
because of those couple
We haven't had a
things.
deficit.
I'm sorry?
I-
Was it?
Okay.
You added the prior in 2024 because of those things, like we recognize the Michigan Pension Grant and also the ARPA money funds come through as revenue.
Rena, we've had a couple of discussions in council about our financial condition, and I wonder if it makes sense for you to talk about what a deficit is, what it means, how do you define it? And in line with the comments you're making about you've done our audit for several years now. Have we been in a deficit position Could you just talk about that a bit?
Sure, sure. So, and it's actually on point for, you'll be moving into the budget, correct? So, very soon. And that's pretty, even though these are June 30th numbers, this kind of gives you the framework for, and then you'll be most of the way through fiscal year '26. So a deficit means, there's a lot of misinterpretation about that. The state of Michigan Treasury says that a deficit is spend your revenues minus your expenditures cannot exceed your existing fund balance. So your opening fund balance, let's say you open with $1 million fund balance. If the revenues are short of your expenditures by $1 million, you'll go to zero, as far as your fund balance will go to zero at that year. Treasury's actually okay with zero. They're not okay with -1 fund balance or beyond. So just because in 1 year you may show that your expenditures exceeded your revenues does not mean you are in a deficit position. Just means that that year, and hopefully it's something like a capital item that you're spending on a one-time thing, not a regular thing. So that's what you really want to watch for, is operating deficits, that it isn't one-time planned items that are throwing you into that, dipping into your fund balance. So you don't want your fund balance to go negative, and respectfully, you want your fund balance to be where you're comfortable with as far as what you think enough is. I don't think that should be a percentage. That for years they've thrown around percentages. They throw around like 25%. Well, that's not that much for the village. That wouldn't, if something happened here catastrophically, you wouldn't, how long would you be able to go?
25% of operating expenses?
Correct.
Which, if you think about the ice storm that we had
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, and the amount that it cost for us to clear out, like, roads and all of those added expenses, probably would have wiped that out.
Going back to 2008, I mean, there are so many things that have happened
Right.
between now and then. Things we can't even imagine, COVID, ice storms, tornadoes coming through.
Sure.
They're not necessarily even, acts of nature.
Yeah.
Things we can't even come up with this stuff. So you just want to be in a position where you're comfortable, that you sleep well at night, knowing if something happens, we're in good hands. We've got money in the bank, and we'll weather the storm, however long the storm is.
And this may not be a question you have, but I'll ask it in case you did look at it. So, we did the Headley override to try and bring us back in to help with the numbers, and that slowly ticks away. So, do we know how it impacted us this year and what it could look like for the coming year?
So fiscal year '24 was, I believe, your first year with the rollback. That's what impacted prior year revenues. It was about 440,000 last year additional so it's probably a little bit less than that. Well, you have the Headley override, so you roll back, but then your taxable values
Went up.
went up.
Right.
So
Right. So
think about $450,000, I would estimate.
Sorry, and so in a single year, if our budget exceeds our revenue, according to the state of Michigan, that's not a deficit, because as long as we can dip into our surplus or our general fund, because local municipality is any year money. You don't have to spend it by the end of the year.
Correct.
Yeah, it doesn't go back.
But-
Whereas
right.
federal funds, if you don't spend it, it goes back to the treasury.
Correct. Now,
Yeah.
state treasury has this rule where if your revenues are less than your expenditures, or let's say the expenditures exceed your revenues 3 years in a row, even though you have fund balance and it's okay to dip into it,
Yeah.
3 years in a row, they ask you they want to know, they'll probably send you a letter saying,
Yeah.
What's going on?
Why?
why did that happen? Would you
Exactly.
anticipate, because they're looking for.
Health.
Right, early distress signals, is this your normal, are you gonna be dipping into fund balance from here on out because you can't meet your operating?
But that's separate from what our charter says too. And then from what, also even like Southfield Township, they have like $1 million surplus right now. You know what I mean? So like, we have 80,000.
But they're different because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
fiscal year end. So they collect their taxes in advance.
Okay.
So for them, $1 million is actually 0% funded.
Understood.
Because I got some residents asking, why does Southfield Township have so much more money than we do?
You don't start collecting your taxes till the first day of your fiscal year.
Okay.
So basically, at June 30th, theoretically, you've spent everything
Spent the
from that
money.
budget. They collect their taxes right at the end of their fiscal year, so they're front-loaded. And you're just starting on July 1st every year with a fresh
Yeah.
tax roll.
And we have no regulation that anything goes back to the state?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, and you appropriately spent your American Rescue Plan money,
Yeah.
so that's not going back. Michigan Pension Grant, you appropriately put that, you've met all the requirements, you put that straight into your MERS pension trust. So, all good, all good.
Yeah.
And I'd be the first one here to tell you, hey, you know,
Yeah,
you
you're
need to do
leaving money on the
this.
table. We're not leaving money on the table is what I wanted to know.
Correct, correct. And we would restrict that money as well anyway at year end. You also receive things like the Oakland County Infrastructure Grant, Critical Infrastructure Grant. So you've been it's nice that when you take advantage of these grant programs, it seems like they're lessening now during that, 2020 to 2023 period. There were a lot more available. You were taking advantage of that. So, that just brings its outside money coming in for the residents to do projects, which is exactly what what you've been doing.
Rena, we also talked for a couple, just briefly before you came here about pension contributions. And I think you just said we were at 56%, we're 56% funded,
Yes.
and the target is 60.
Mhm.
Do you have some guidance for us on any remediation we might want to contemplate? Are you satisfied that we are close enough? Can you just sort of talk us through that just a little bit?
Sure. So we really a lot of it hinges on a couple things that are really out of our control. One is net investment income, we're alluding to the fact of the December 31st stock market environment.
Yeah.
Right, out of our control. The other thing is a lot of the actuarial assumptions, our experience rate, that type of thing, that can have a big swing on our total pension liability. However, excuse me, that being said, I would encourage you, and it depends, respectfully, this is wherever you're at when you're talking about the budget, even if it's not even this year, next year, but please keep it in mind, if you can make extra contributions to the pension plan, it definitely, and I'm talking like at least $100,000 a year, whether that's on broken down into a monthly basis of say, $8,000 to $10,000 a month, or once a year, you get near the end of the year and say, hey, we might have some money available in the budget. Let's tuck, $100,000 into the, to the pension plan. That would definitely move the needle as far as your percentage goes. You would, to really get you up into, ideally you'd be up at 70%. But that would take, multiple years, 3 to 5 years at $100,000, say. I mean, I haven't run the numbers, but knowing from experience, that's what would get you, up into a higher range. That plus some good luck with the stock market.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so we need to receive and approve the 2024-2025 audit as presented by PSLZ PLLC. Let's start with a motion and a second, and then we can get into further discussion if we have any. So anybody want to make a motion to approve receipt of the 2024-2025 audit?
I'll move to approve the 2024-2025 audit.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Solaka, second by Gates.
Is it
Any further-
accept or approve? What did you say?
Receive.
Receive.
I mean, we don't have we're not really approving it, are we? It is what it
Correct.
is.
Correct.
Yeah, we're not,
This
we're
is like
accepting
an
and receiving.
acknowledgement that we're seeing it,
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah.
Evan will wordsmith it.
Yeah. So we're acknowledging receipt of the 2024-2025 audit as presented by PSLZ PLLC. We have a motion by Gates, second by Solaka, or was it the other way around?
Other way.
Motion by Solaka, second by Gates. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Once again, thank you very
you.
much
Thank you very
for
much.
all of your help. Okay, new business, we took care of A, we took care of B. So this next item on the agenda is what, it's listed as formation of the Deer Management Committee, although our intent, I'm gonna say our intent in putting this here, bless you, was not to actually make the appointments today. What I think we need to do is, one, confirm that we do want to create a deer management committee. And if we're gonna have a deer management committee, we as a council decide what we believe the makeup of that, how many people should be on it, and what should the makeup of that body be. And that's sort of why we put it on the agenda. I can tell you, and you guys correct me where I'm wrong, at legal committee, we had suggested 7 people, so that at least that gives you at every meeting a chance that 2 people can't make it, but still have enough people there to do something of substance. We had suggested no more than 1 council member on it, and whether I think we didn't decide whether 1 or 2, but probably at least 1 planning commissioner on it.
Yep.
And then the remaining 5 come from the community at large, being that this is primarily being driven by community request. I think the makeup needs to be made up more of individuals, and the purpose of this committee is supposed to be more of a fact garnering committee to better understand deer management, the various options, pros and cons of each of those options, cost associated with each of those options, and that body be acting, granted that the makeup of it could have people that have belief that one or the other ways is better, that this not be an advocacy committee, that for the time being, we need this to be a fact-finding committee, bringing to us all the facts that we can garner to understand to what extent, if any, that the Village of Franklin wants to get involved in deer management, whether it's specifically hosting events or financial contribution solely, or not interested at all. So I would hope that that body would be spending more time, at least initially, focusing on gathering the facts. If there's some makeup on it of people that believe that the calling is the more appropriate way to go, then okay, then those people can focus on garnering the facts on calling. If it should have a makeup on it of people who lean more towards more humanitarian ways of controlling the population, i.e. sterilization or other means. There should be a makeup of individuals that understand that so that they can educate us. But when the group comes back, I'm hoping that it be more initially a bunch of facts to bring to us, and then from those facts, we can send it back to the committee to start seeking out those who would be proper advocates. And if we want to set up a time for, whether, of course, residents will always have the opportunity, but to bring in third parties, someone that's a third-party advocate of calling, somebody that's a third-party advocate of sterilization or other means, I think that would be the second phase. So,
Yeah, can I jump in real quick?
Please.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that we talked about in legal, and I'm strongly of this opinion, is that this committee will not take a position. They will bring facts back to us. We already know that there's 3 options. There's sterilization, there's the call, and there's do nothing. And so rather than us independently going out and doing a lot of research, this group would be exploring those 3 options and educating us so that we make the policy decision. Ultimately, what will be done will be up to us, but I think there's a lot of questions about effectiveness, overall cost. And so rather than coming up with not generic, but just numbers on a page, going out and getting an actual quote. What would it be? How much would it cost to participate in local coalitions? So again, very fact specific, but at no point do we want a position taken. That is for us to decide as a policy body.
Anyone else got just general comments on the concept? So are we, what is the thought process on one council representative?
My thought would be make it 5 instead of 7.
5 total?
Yeah.
And then 3 residents?
And then 1 from planning, 1 from council, only because
The
schedule.
meetings
I mean, more people.
should be
Yeah.
posted when they're getting together. So any resident should be able to
Exactly.
come and participate. If we were gonna appoint 5 people to be the actual people that are supposed to be there
Yeah.
for every meeting, taking the notes, gathering the information, somebody needs to take the lead on.
Yeah, because then if
Fact
like
gatherer.
3 could make it, you have a majority.
The 7 was a suggestion, and it's not easy to get that. Let's do this.
You could just say up to 7.
Correct. So what I'm gonna suggest, that's a great idea. So what I'm gonna say is, let's set up a subcommittee that we agree will have one council representative and a minimum 1 planning commission representative, and made up of at least 3 residents, and then treat this like any of our subcommittees. Evan opens it up like tomorrow for posting. He posted in the normal places you would if this was for a planning commissioner or a ZBA representative. Anybody that's interested, submit your information to Evan. Give us a little background on, more specifically, your background, if any, on
Do they have to
Deer
be
management?
a Franklin resident, a Franklin taxpayer, a Franklin voter, a Franklin elect? Like, what are the criteria for serving on a committee?
I mean, ideally, if we're setting up subcommittees, they should be residents.
So priority given
yeah.
to residents?
Yeah, that
should
would be
any
priority.
committee.
If we can't even get 3 other individuals that want to do it, and there's a couple people that live in the surrounding communities that somehow have some desire to be involved in what we got going on here, but no, I would hope that we could find 3 other residents.
And does this committee
I
report?
mean, I know there's at least 3 residents that are willing
Yeah.
to do it already.
What committee is this reporting up through?
I don't think it has
They're
to.
gonna report directly to council.
Yeah.
Okay.
And will it be indefinite? How long do we need to give time?
I think we do need to give a deadline for it.
That's a good point, yeah. How long are we gonna ask them to do this before we,
Should it come before the budget meeting, so we can figure out if we need to put?
that's a great, that's a great, if you wanna use, so, May 1st?
Is that
Because,
enough time?
or April 15th? May
Yeah.
1st is when the charter says the first draft of the budget should be ready to
So
go.
it should come to
So,
us probably in the April
yeah,
meeting,
so,
but maybe we should get an update in March.
yeah, so let's create the subcommittee with the hope that we can get data back by April 15 in order to,
And maybe at least a a check-in before that to make sure that we're
oh,
gonna.
yeah,
Like a
I mean,
March.
I
I guess
would, I would
February,
love them to
March.
come to each of the meetings
Right.
and
Go put 'em
speak
on,
at the
yeah.
time where we have our liaison, because, I mean, we're absolutely creating a committee right now.
Yep.
So, yeah, I would like them to come and speak when we do planning report and Main
Okay.
Street report.
Are there any deadline drivers outside of our budgeting process, like farming? What is the coalition of communities?
We've missed anything
Yeah.
that can be done in 2026, so
okay.
anything we would be considering, other than financially contributing to what other communities are already doing in 2026,
Okay.
we would be looking at 27.
Oh, okay, okay. So really, there's no like
Urgency.
urgency,
No.
Correct.
stake in the ground kind of, okay. So
No.
if they need more time, they can ask for it.
Just so you know, a call already took place in
Yeah.
January, a week ago. They sent a report out. It was, I
Was
think
that
they,
in which
in
municipality?
Farmington. Yeah, because I know they were doing it in the winter when that's when the most traffic is. And they were doing it at night, and they were doing it when all the leaves were down, so that they didn't have, and I'm almost positive the first call already took place. I have no results or anything, but 2026, our neighbor communities are already in action.
Okay.
All right, so we need a motion and a second to create a deer management committee to be made up of one village council member, one planning commission member, and a minimum of 3 residents.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ferris, second by Hanson. Any further discussion?
Did you say up to 7? So
I'm sorry, up to 5. Did I say 7?
No, I was just making sure we're saying 5.
Yeah, no, Angelina's suggestion was good. Let's start at a minimum of 5. Look, if we get 15 applicants, so we got a whole mess of people that are interested, and it can't hurt, you know. But for the time being, let's set it up at a minimum of the 5. All right, so we had a motion, a second, we've had discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, excellent. So, item D on new business, consideration of request to employ the Franklin Public Library librarian. Between Rachel and Rick, do you want to, or Rachel, the one of you, had either of you planned on giving a 30-second on what we're doing? Do you want me to try and do it?
I can do it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so what we would like to do is hire the Franklin Public Library librarian to be part of our village staff, and then lease that employee back to the library. So they will pay all of the costs of that librarian's salary, benefits, and a small administrative percentage that we will negotiate through the contract for our services of handling this project for them.
And so explain the 2 primary driving forces behind doing this.
Well, the first driving force is we would like to partner with our library and help them. Secondly, this gets us closer to our 20-person covered on our insurance.
Right. It would be financially restrictive for the library to set up all the things that we have in place for our employees, for one employee that does that.
Right, that's true.
Adding an employee to our roles doesn't hurt us, because as you said, it gets us one employee closer to that magic 20 we've been trying to get, which, once we get to 20, we receive a significant savings in our insurance costs, because the threshold for a business is, I don't know if it's a business or municipality, but the threshold is 20 employees.
Are we at 19 and this brings us to 20?
No.
No, we do not. I don't have the count with
That's
me.
okay.
We need a couple more.
What are the risks?
Well,
Well, so, sorry, so then ask the questions. So, when this was originally presented to the administration by the library administration, the first thing I know Rachel did was had Peter look at it. I know that the library's legal counsel looked at it. They've presented us with legal opinions that this is completely legal. Other municipalities do this kind of employees lease back arrangement all the time. The theory is that it costs us nothing, whatever it is that we're paying on a monthly basis, we back charge them, and a small administrative fee to account for primarily Teresa's time and,
She's not Teresa anymore.
well,
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant the new librarian.
still Teresa.
Sorry, I didn't mean you. I meant I thought you were talking about Teresa.
No
Sorry.
legal name changes.
yeah, for Teresa and Stephanie when they do the bills, when they do payroll.
Are we leasing back for the total cost of any compensation? So that would include retirement, benefits, contributions?
Yes.
I don't believe there's retirement, but is that
Is-
right there? No retirement, but there is medical benefits.
Is this the only full-time library employee? The others are part-time? And then in the contract, if there was workers' comp liability,
It's essentially what we're saying is like, we would just want to make sure that it comes down to a contractual perspective, or sorry, good contract drafting, but we just want broad enough language, or I'll only speak for myself, but I would imagine the rest of council would want language broad enough so that all possible compensation is considered and repaid, right? And then the second part would be a full indemnification from any liabilities.
Tripping on books or something like that.
That is correct.
Did it go
now,
through?
Municipalities have restrictions on indemnifying one another, but we would want to be added as an additional insured in their insurance. We'll try to cover all those bases. But to answer Angelina, the trustee Salaka's question about the risks, is just like hiring your own employee, the same risks.
Yeah.
Getting sued, all that stuff, but I think we'll cover that. I looked at the legality, I looked at the memo that was prepared, I did my additional research, and I think it is fine. It's just a matter of drafting language and coming up with an approval.
What about reporting structure, dynamic concerns?
Did this
or-
go through HR is my question, HR committee? No?
No,
I
did not.
We talked.
A while ago, yeah.
Yeah,
But it wasn't an official committee meeting.
no. What about reporting structure? Does this person oversee anyone? How will they report? Will they have a direct reporting relationship within the village? Will they have anyone they manage directly within the library? And how are we managing those reporting lines?
Well,
We're not.
There is a library act that requires the library's members to direct and control their library. We're still negotiating the contract, but there was enough there where we could hire or fire based on an approval of the library's board members. Is that right?
Your library board is the only one who can hire and fire her?
Good evening, and as we understand it, the employee will be an employee of the village. We will be responsible for the oversight and management, and if we have issues with that employee, we'd recommend to the village that they receive any kind of employment aspect of termination or PIPs or anything like that. So we would then, the only people that can hire and fire this person will be the village, because it's a village employee.
Does that take authority or away from your board?
No, because we're responsible to manage this person, provide annual evaluations to the files at the village for personnel file and things.
Does this impact our library millage? Like at all? Like the way we said the funds were going to the library and
No.
now they're coming to us?
We have a separate millage, we're able
Okay.
to choose how we want to spend it, and we're just going to be running the compensation aspects through the village. Doesn't affect their millage or anything about the millage, because we're still responsible for the budget aspects of that.
Will this person receive the same benefits and retirement benefits as other village employees?
No retirement benefits are being offered. It's simply compensation, and we also have a different,
Is there a 401K contribution?
we've never had a full-time employee until this point. For the last, all the years Teresa was with us.
So it's more the health and disability?
Yes.
But so Peter, this is gonna be for you. They do not offer retirement, but if all other employees
That's what
under
I
a
was-
certain classification are receiving benefits, could they then be do they have any type of an employment claim?
Could they sue on behalf that they're not being treated equally to other employees
The
of the
village
village?
administrator just brought that up. I'd have to do some additional research on that.
Yeah.
If a 401K is offered, you have to allow for any employees to
To access
participate
that.
if they choose to.
And
You-
if the person's defined as a village employee, they would have the option of opting in or not.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
That's
couldn't,
what I thought.
you could not exclude them from a retirement plan if their employment relationship falls with the village.
And that'd be fine. I don't know what your match is. If you have the match, will the board?
8%?
Well, we have 3 different levels, so we would have to determine at which
We would look
level.
at that.
Can we refer this to the HR committee?
Yeah, I mean, it could go to the HR committee.
The
or it
actual
could just go
contract,
to
yes.
our-
I'd like to have a concept approved tonight if possible, so we
Is
can
there a
negotiate a
reason it's
contract.
called a lease and not a consultancy or something else? I'm just wondering, is that technical language?
No, I think you can call it either or.
Or a contract.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I was just wondering if there was a term of art there.
No.
You know, the state laws provide, as our legal counsel provided a memo on that. It's commonly done in other cities. We'll do it, say, for their fire chief, for their building inspector. They'll be leased part-time to another municipality next door if they provide services. So it's commonly done in the governmental area and also private sector.
Yeah, I approve the concept, I just don't want someone to be able to sue us saying that we're not treating her.
We don't either. We don't want that either. We'll do what we have to do to make
And
sure
if the
that.
total cost of their compensation includes retirement, which I suspect it probably will, that is a figure we incorporate within the lease agreement.
Fine. Of course, we want to fully cover everything, including any legal costs related to this.
What do you need today? Just approval of the concept and then authorize the attorneys to work on a contract and bring a contract back to us?
Yes.
But I kind of like the points that trustee Gates was bringing up. So do we want HR committee to weigh in on some of that?
I mean, I'm fine to approve, I'm not gonna speak for the other
Yeah.
committee members, but I think like legally, we're okay. I think
Yeah, I
it's
think-
more like
Sorry.
the nuance of
It just seems like there's
management
details.
of the, yeah, like management of this employee, documentation standards,
Yeah.
reporting structures, retirement. I mean, there are just.
Could she
there's more-
circumvent the board and go straight to Rachel?
No, they would, she would, the person
I just
she
wanna
would
make sure.
report to, yeah. I mean, I'm familiar with contracts like this in IT, because it's
Yeah.
done all the time.
Yeah.
But I think that needs to be laid out in the contract. I think
Because
you're
we're-
right, it's about any risk the village would incur. What if the person steals something, you know, or, I mean, you get into, but it can be
How's
worked
it
out
different than any
contractually.
employee that we have?
Well, I mean, these wouldn't be contract terms. We would define reporting relationship within the contract.
Yeah.
They would be bound by any and all policies that we have in place with the village.
Right.
So any code of conduct or handbook or.
Or the purchasing policy, like, is she gonna be bound to our purchasing policy?
So
You'd
can
have
I-
to,
Think
Sorry.
about it, if you're a staffing agency and you employ someone within your agency, you bear the risk of hiring that person. So if you contract them to another body, yes, like it would be in this person's best interest to behave well and to play nice with their fellow
Right.
colleagues and direct reporting relationship. But the point being that, like, if something were to happen, who has the ability to make disciplinary decisions, conduct a performance review, who's tasked with compensation reviews? What happened if those compensation reviews happen annually with the village, they don't with the library? These are things outside of a contract,
Yeah.
but are worth exploring.
I agree with that.
And should they all be addressed in the contract?
No, I mean,
Okay.
contract is really things like IP protection or
Okay.
job title, like the effective date of when someone begins with your organization. It would be things that indicate any benefits that are offered. Anything around those stipulations typically fall within operating
job
agreement.
description.
Yeah.
Employment agreement.
But that could be the employment contract. We
Right.
could have an agreement with the library that breaks all of that
Yes.
out.
Yeah.
You could, like an addendum, yes,
Yeah.
but for the purposes of extending an offer and saying,
Those would be-
you know, any additional terms will be outlined within an addendum. It would be the same thing as if you're saying to a salesperson that annually, your commission agreement, your variable compensation will be subject to approval from the executive team and will be provided to you via addendum to your employment contract. So it just serves as a rider. But yes, that it would not preclude an employment agreement.
So we will build all of that and bring it to the HR committee before we bring it to council.
Fine.
but we can still take a motion on this.
Yeah.
tonight.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, we can take a motion to put it in, to start the motion in process.
Yep.
And bring it back to us when it's ready. In the meantime, you can advise the employee that it's been approved, subject to dotting the i's and crossing the t's.
Is there time, like, I mean, I assume as soon as possible, but are there any deadlines we need to be aware of to get this done?
They're working already.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think the goal would be that we have everything in place by next month, so that we can take action as a council.
Do you plan on hiring any other full-time employees?
No,
This is like your,
we don't have the budget for it.
yeah, I was just wondering.
I would almost structure like, you've got the employment agreement, which functions as your, like, MSA.
Yep.
And I would structure the lease agreement to the library almost like a statement of work. It becomes
Yep.
your job description, reporting relationships that might like supersede or apply for your, what's the word? Your assignment at the library.
Yeah, we'd be obligated to do the annual evaluations.
And there was an identified job description when you hired?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah. And then you can change the terms of that statement of work at any time, outside of an MSA agreement or an employment contract.
Trustee Gates outshining all the attorneys on
Finally, I knew
council.
something.
I'm
It took a
loving
year.
it.
But this is why we need legal on the HR committee. Did I
Okay.
misspeak, by the way, speaking of?
Sounded good to me.
No, so we're looking for an action to authorize the village administrator and the village attorney to enter into contract negotiations with the library board to finalize a lease arrangement and any other documents that they think are necessary to memorialize the lease arrangement between the village and the library.
Do we need to have anything in here about, like a flat cost agreement and/or the retirement piece? Because I think those are the last two.
It'll be in the agreement.
Yeah, so at this stage, we're,
Nothing in the motion.
well, yeah, I would say right now, all we're asking them to do is go figure it out, and then when they bring it back, if it's lacking that, that would be the appropriate time to say, hey, why don't you consider this? So, I'm just gonna go ahead and make that motion since I had just said all that, so I'm gonna move that we authorize the village administrator and the village attorney to enter into contract negotiations with the Franklin Public Library to provide for a lease arrangement for the village to employ the Franklin Public Library librarian and lease, it's a her right now, back to the library. Motion, if we can get a second.
Second.
Motion by Goldberg, second by Solly. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Rick, thank you for working through this.
Thank you.
We will get this done right
Two
away.
items, there's a meet the director evening in February at the library, and you're all welcome to attend, and also, at the last meeting, your body, you asked that our new director come to the council, and we're arranging that now to happen in March.
That'd be wonderful.
She'll come and you can meet her also.
And her name is not Teresa.
Her name is Susie. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you,
Rick.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, everyone. Next is consider scheduling a village priorities workshop. So unfortunately, and we got the break today, although we didn't get to accomplish what we wanted to, we might be having to have some workshops before our meetings at 5 o'clock over the next couple months in order to receive information and allow presentations to be done that aren't being absorbed in our regular council time, since our meetings have been moving into the 3.5 and 4 hour range. So, anybody have a problem if we set up a same deal as we were gonna do today, a 5 o'clock before our February meeting? The purpose of this is something that we've desperately been trying to do, is discuss and try and start establishing village priorities. These are village, active priorities, action items for things that the village would like to consider taking action on, funding when funding is available. But in order to do so, we've got to have our priorities set, and then it's from our priorities that we do things like create shovel-ready projects, so that in order to receive grants and funds from outside sources, most of the time, you've got to have a project in place. And we need to set what our priorities are before we can start setting projects. Been trying to do this for several months now. It slipped through the cracks. It was happening with our last administrator, and then again slipped through the cracks. And I think we need to make this a priority, that we address priorities.
Can we have Evan send out like a doodle poll or something to figure out a day? I don't think an hour is gonna be enough. I think maybe another day, because I always feel like council day I don't know how other people feel,
Well,
but I feel
I
like
don't-
being here from 5 to 9, like we lose steam at hour 3.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And so like, should we just do like a,
Like a special meeting?
yeah, like a 5 to 7, or does it have to be a special meeting? We don't have to take votes there, right? Which is a workshop. I don't know how everyone else feels.
You guys, Pam and I have probably the most flexible schedule, so I have no problem, you know, like we've done, is adding a Wednesday night into the equation, or a Monday, you know, another Monday night in the month for us to deal with business. I mean, I don't wanna
Does it
get.
You
have
come
to
see
be
your
in
kids.
person?
You come
Is there
straight
an
here.
option for virtual participation? That gives me a lot more wiggle room.
If it's a workshop, right? We can do it virtual if it's a workshop?
It should be noticed up, just so we cover our bases, but if somebody wants to attend virtually, they can do that. There's
We're
just
not
back and
taking
forth.
action at workshops anyways, so that anybody that was participating virtually, they wouldn't be involved in a vote, they would be involved in just verbal communication. I mean, we can check it out, I don't foresee that as a problem, like violating the OMA.
Mondays are best, but
I would support a separate meeting with the virtual option, so we can have a couple of hours, otherwise.
Okay, that's fine.
But like a set, like 4 to 6, or 5 to 7, or 5:30 to 7:30.
2-hour block somewhere.
No, a
yeah.
2-hour block should
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah.
Trustee Ferris, what's the best for you?
Yeah, could we start at 6 like we do these
Yeah.
meetings?
Yeah.
5 o'clock is hard for me to start.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, well, that, we were doing 5 when we were trying to get them before meetings. Angelina, good point. If we had done an hour of Main Street before, right now, yeah, I could see where our brains would start spinning a bit. I mean, if it's more effective and the rest of you don't mind adding a second day into your commitments, this isn't gonna be a standing
I mean,
thing.
like, even like Trustee Gates said, even if you can do a hybrid, you know, like 20 minutes he's in traffic, but he can show up.
But no, but
Yeah.
again, I think we're agreeable that
Yeah,
it could be
I
done
mean, if I'm-
virtually
yeah,
because
I'm
we're not
traveling.
taking action.
I mean, I can squeeze it in if I'm sitting in a hotel room.
Yeah.
and then
So, what are your thoughts? Should we have? I mean, do you want to do it like through,
After
like
Monday
have
the
Evan
15th.
send an email to everyone with a couple proposed dates and times, and then everybody just reply separately so that we're not all communicating to the same email?
So are the options like 6 o'clock, Monday through Thursday? Right, on non-council
Yeah.
meeting weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we maximize the time and do a little bit of pre-work or prep?
Yeah,
Like, at least give us some framework of like, rank these things, or
yeah,
give
we
some
should come
thought
prepared
to
to
X,
have.
Y, and Z, like facilitate it.
I think I have an old document.
Yep, I have been working off of one of your documents, actually. It's in here. Yes, it is this document right here. This was council goals and objectives and various tasks,
from what year?
March
23.
13th, 2023.
And I think that is the most recent.
It is,
Or
yeah.
the latest, rather.
And some of these things we've addressed already and some we haven't, but this was sort of the last thing that we worked on. November 13th at 6 o'clock. And that was when we were still meeting at 7 o'clock back in '23. We did a council workshop on goals, objectives, and various tasks. And I don't, you know, and again, when we were to, we'll use some of this as background information. Hopefully, we have already addressed a lot of these things, and now we need a list of the new ones and the ones that we never got to, determine if they still need to be addressed.
I'd like to propose that we work with Rachel to design a meeting, a process to get through that 2-hour session that will result in a list of priorities that we can carry into the budgeting process. That would also include some advance work, some pre-work for council members.
To discuss during the meeting?
Well, the pre-work could be something like preparing a list of priorities that remain open and asking council
Here's a
members
list
to rank
of
them.
past priorities that
Yeah, sort of
we've
a-
considered.
Yeah.
Just to get everybody's
Yeah.
mind thinking about them, spurring other ideas. start ranking those items that we had already considered. If they're things that we've addressed, then note that we've already addressed them. And if they're things which we don't feel are as important anymore, that's sort of the purpose of this.
Will
So,
the
yeah.
master plan have influence on this too?
The master plan is something that we would look to as we make decisions on these types of items, not, I mean, yes, in setting them up, because we would hope that we're setting up tasks or implementing means that are consistent with our master plan. I would hate to be setting up things that are inconsistent with it. But yeah, I think the master plan would be more of something, master plan, that would be something we would look at as the
Guidance.
basis for, guidance, great term, for setting our priorities.
Could a good course of action be that each committee or each council member send Rachel,
I'm not opposed to that. I
You
mean,
know,
just
like,
gotta
if
just
infrastructure
send it directly
says-
to her.
okay,
Yeah.
And not to the
But
group
by a
as a
date.
whole. I mean, we'll each probably go through one of these that we have somewhere in our files and be like, here's my list of what I saw as priorities. Here's my list of what my priorities are, and included in here are some of the priorities that the village had previously. The more items we can get out into the list, makes it easier for us to decide which ones we want to do. The worst is make a whole decision and be like, oh my gosh, we totally forgot about.
Right.
so should we decide now, like, are to leave that meeting with 10 top objectives or 5? Like, what is our objective and goals of that meeting, just so we know what we are to accomplish in that 2 hours? Is that what you were saying, Pam, kind of like, what are we gonna do?
I was heading that way. I'm reluctant to suggest that there's a number.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
But
How we decide.
I think because we will have time to cycle through it again in the budget prep process. I'm comfortable asking Rachel to take this on. You've done meetings like this before. Let's take advantage of your experience. And I think you'll get help from us. I like Angelina's idea of some open-ended, what do you guys think? And I think we can review what we've already done. I have some heartburn about some of those items, so I'm not sure how much I want to rely on them, but I
Yeah, I was
love
going
the
through
idea
those.
of, what?
I did the same thing you did.
Yeah.
Well, again, they clearly could be evolving,
Well,
but
cost isn't really the metric, might be something else, but, yeah, let's rely on you. I think we want to provide some input, and it might be sifting through some iterations of top numbers of priorities or suggestions from council members, and feedback, some feedback loops before the session starts even.
Do we want to do like January 25th?
For your items
Yeah.
to be received by me? Sure.
Give us like 14
Yeah.
days.
Okay. And
Right.
then what is the date of the meeting? You
We don't
decided
know
that
yet, but it's not going to be Martin Luther King week. So
right, yeah, we don't have a date. That once,
He's gonna do it.
yeah, once
Every month.
you're
Okay.
comfortable that you've got a substantive enough list, and you've heard from, almost all of us, or anyone who's planning on providing you that, then would be the time to
It's a Monday, because the 31st is
figure
Saturday.
out when to meet. But yes, let's plan on it being in the month of February.
Okay.
13 days Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. Next item is accepting RFPs for legal services to be considered at a later meeting of council. So Rachel had posted an RFP for consideration of someone representing us for our legal services. It's Peter right now. Peter also will be involved in that as someone we consider in that. This is part of an overall review that you're doing, that Rachel has wanted to do of all of our consultants.
All of our contracts.
Yeah, contracted consultants, starting with legal, not in any particular order for any particular reason, just was the first one that you chose to address. So it's already been posted, you've already received,
Correct.
and you're just want us to acknowledge receipt? Are you gonna provide us with what's the next step, I guess?
Well, different communities do it different ways. So we could have the entire board review the contracts and then meet with the attorneys separately and decide that way, and then just bring it to a board meeting and vote. Or we can have all the attorneys come and present to the board, and the community can see all of that happen. So that's up to you.
Can I suggest, can HR committee and legal committee both come with their recommendation? And then if it's the same recommendation, so that way the whole board doesn't need to review all the RFPs, right? Because shouldn't legal be involved and shouldn't HR be involved? I'm just
We would
asking.
do that if you wanted to break it out into two stages and have a vetting process from the subcommittee, and then bring it to the body as a whole. If you've already, we've posted what the need
Or
is.
you bring your recommendation to those two
Or I
committees.
could do that. I could
That's
just
what I was
provide a
thinking.
report.
Yeah, and then HR could look at it.
Provide
and
each of
review.
us with a copy of the RFP, of each of the proposals. We would review it. We would each come up with our own idea of who we liked. We would start with who your recommendation is. If that's consistent with what we liked, then that would be that would make it easiest. If who you're suggesting and a lot of us are suggesting are not the same, that's when discussions come. And before we make a decision, we can then ask either all or one or more of the applicants to come and address us. And we're not hiring an employee. So we're not bound by the same types of equality as we are when we're hiring a contractor. So if we get 6 proposals and there's only 3 that we'd like to find more information on, then we could invite those 3 to come to a meeting and tell us about themselves, answer questions, and then take action then or at a later date.
Okay.
So let's, as far as today, we can move to accept all the RFPs that have been received and ask Rachel to circulate those to each of us in a communication.
I was just thinking, is it more efficient for her to get 2 recommendations than 7? Like, this is the legal committee's recommendation, and this is the HR committee's recommendation. And then if that, you know what he means? That way you don't have 7 voices, but you have 2. And I'm not on either committee, so like, I'm happy to be out of it. But I'm just saying, like, HR has decided that this is their candidate, legal has decided this is her candidate, and then Rachel has her candidate. And if it's all 3.
But literally between those 2 committees, it's 6 of the 7 of us.
That's what I mean, but for her to, what if then she has 7 different, I'm thinking of her burden of managing our selections and then being efficient. If legal can decide on one and HR can decide on one, then she only has to juggle 2 recommendations as opposed to 7. And that's fine, I'm just saying we could all come up with
Well, I
one
guess the
of
question
7
is, are
different
we
ones.
making recommendations to her, or is she making a recommendation to us for us to approve? Which is the order?
Well, it's the council's legal counsel, and it's your legal counsel. So I think council needs to make a recommendation to her, and then she has a recommendation for herself, and then if that lines up. Because this person would serve as our counsel like Peter does. So they have to have like administrative background for,
All right, so let me try and understand what you're saying. So send the resumes, the proposals to all of us. Legal committee meets, reviews them, and between the 3 members of legal committee, a recommendation of which firm, and then the personnel committee do the same thing, and then you have 2 recommendations. And then what if she could have a 3rd recommendation?
exactly,
And then we
but,
come back to council as a whole and say, Rachel is suggesting this individual firm, legal committee's suggesting this one, personnel is suggesting this one. It would be ideal if they were all the same.
exactly, but then you work on aligning those 3 as opposed to aligning 7. And if you were doing a technical evaluation panel for a procurement, you'd have 3 people on a technical evaluation panel. So like 3 opinions is normally,
Again, if Personnel Committee can figure out the time to, get it posted and schedule a meeting and do it, and Legal Committee can do the same, we have no urgency here.
do committees, meetings have to be posted?
They do,
So we just haven't been doing that.
right. And they're open to the public.
Okay, so this is a new thing that
Well,
Franklin hasn't done.
depends what committee you're talking about. Legal Committee, it's always posted because it's a standing committee.
But the other ones are-
Infrastructure, at least anytime that I've been involved in an infrastructure committee, the last go-around, they were all posted by,
Finance hasn't been posted and HR is not posted.
Right, but I asked for.
No, I agree. I'd
opinion
rather
from
them be
Peter,
posted.
and
We
in
just-
Peter's opinion,
HR
this is what
committee,
came back.
all the interviews and everything were posted. I just think we're a little we're
I don't-
more irregular than we should be.
Regardless, let's just set that aside.
Yeah.
We could be better,
Yeah,
right? And moving forward, we're all on notice that we need to post.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't even know about some of the finance committee meetings, so I know they weren't posted.
I don't think they were either.
I agree with you. They should all be posted.
so I just lost track of where we were at. So,
About who's doing the what is
are we
the-
setting a date that you want recommendations back to Rachel? What I was saying was, we don't have urgency. We have an attorney. If we've ever needed an outside attorney on a specific subject matter, we've been dealing with that. So it isn't like we're operating without a village attorney right now.
Right.
So, yeah, if you, what do you think is an appropriate time period? I mean, Legal Committee, we're meeting again
Right.
the first Monday of the month like we always do, so we'll just cover it at our next Legal Committee meeting. So, the 3 of you that are on the Personnel Committee, you'll need to get together, but if you have an idea of right now, if you think the 3 of you could get together in the course between now and the next Legal Committee meeting, which is the first Monday of February, so that between the Legal Committee and our next council meeting, Rachel has each of the group's recommendations. Otherwise, we won't be taking action on it in February, it'll be in March, so if you guys are saying on Personnel Committee, you think you'll need beyond whatever that is, whatever our Legal Committee meeting is in that week of,
Rachel, all of council though should see all the RFPs, so they can like review them before the meeting, so the meeting can be 10 minutes for personnel just to decide.
right.
And we should also see the RFPs to make sure there's no conflict.
Rachel's gonna circulate them to all of us, so that we all have them. Our 2 committees that we're talking about are made up of literally 6 of the 7 of us. Who's the only person
I'm
that's?
not.
You're the only person that's not on either of those. And you'll get it to do your own review.
Well, just so there's no conflict of interest.
Right, no, so, yeah, Legal Committee will have a recommendation to Rachel by the week of, oh, there's February, the week of February 2nd. Legal Committee meets on February 2nd. Our next council meeting is February 9th. If the Personnel Committee could have something to Rachel by February 4th or February 5th, that would give Evan and Rachel enough time to put the recommendations into a packet and be in the council packet for February. You don't necessarily have to take action, but if we have if we know we can have all that information by then we have a date set. If you're saying not enough time, let's just plan on having it done in March, then we'll plan accordingly.
We can do that.
Yeah, because again, we're fortunate. We have a set date, so we know when we're meeting. You guys have to coordinate it, and if you're comfortable that you can get it done in the next 3 weeks, we should be okay, yeah.
Seems reasonable.
I believe in us.
Okay, cool. All right. So let's shoot to get stuff to, recommendation from each of those committees to Rachel by February 5th. All right, so, we have a couple reports that we need to get to. We need to go into closed session because our attorney has written us an attorney-client privilege communication. Discuss procedural process of agenda formation and public comment. So what I put together today, and it is more my edification and from what I've experienced in the bit of time I've been on council and been on legal committee. The question is, do you guys want to deal with this today, being that I didn't even send this out until earlier today? And let's just table this item and discuss it in February and give everybody an opportunity to review this, come up with their own thoughts. I have no,
Yeah, so I read through it. A couple of thoughts is I agree with that. I'm also wondering, again, not to, hey, People Committee is very popular tonight, but is this something that would appropriately the People Committee could review?
Abby was trying to offload
But-
her duty.
Said I want it on one committee.
If not, I'm happy to go through and make my edits directly to this and then come back. But I think the material thing that we need to leave this conversation with is when we want to put something onto the agenda for just best practices. I know that previously we've stated to get it to Evan before the legal committee agenda is set. That goes out typically at Friday. However, we want to give Evan bake time, so I don't want to say the Friday before the Monday that we do the legal committee meeting. I would prefer for us to say whether it be Wednesday or Tuesday. That way we're giving Evan sufficient time.
I agree with that. That's unfortunately, practices have eaten away at that. So what I wrote in here was to be a little, even more flexible, but you're right. We should eliminate that flexibility and it should be a little more rigid, short of an emergency, so that Evan does not have to be scrambling on a Friday when he's trying to go home to put together a bunch of stuff that he just received that day.
Correct.
So yes, I agree, if in part of this, we set an earlier deadline on when things should be submitted for something that you want to get on the agenda ahead of time. It doesn't fall in this emergency category, it doesn't fall into the, oh, we just found out about it. It's just something we've been working on and we want to get in front of council, then yes, I agree with you that Evan and the administration should have more than just Friday to try and pull that together.
So, sorry.
No, and then there was just a couple other things, reading through this quickly, but do we want to table this?
Yes, no, it's 100%.
So I'm not going to say
Yes.
anything.
Yes, no, that's what I'm suggesting, which is, since we
Correct.
just got it,
Yes.
I'm just gonna.
Can you
we're just
send
gonna-
it to Evan to send to us in Word so we can track change it? Oh, you did? Earlier
send it.
today.
Yeah, that's
I didn't check it from the.
Yeah.
So Evan, how much time do you typically need?
If you got it to me by Thursday, it would be all right.
Okay, so we'll set it the Thursday before the legal meeting.
Okay. Okay, so council reports. I only have one thing, and I was asked by a resident as well as former trustee Seltzer himself, and I would have done this on my own. I just want to acknowledge that, and it was addressed at a couple meetings, a resident of the village filed a formal complaint, a campaign finance complaint against former trustee Seltzer that resulted in an investigation by the Michigan Bureau of Elections. And Mike provided me with a copy of the letter that he received from the Michigan Department of State's Bureau of Elections, that the complaint that was filed against him had been refuted with sufficient evidence and was dismissed by the department with no further enforcement action. So I just wanted to clarify the record on that former trustee Salzer had been cleared of any wrongdoings with regard to his last campaign election. And outside of that, I do not have anything else to report. So any other trustees? Oh, hold on. Go ahead, let's do our reports, and then we got to come back to an item. I forgot about our bank letter. But do any other council members want to make any comments?
Yeah, I want to follow up from a comment, or I guess a question that was offered in public comment last week that we then responded to. Last month, thank you. And our response is actually incorrect in the sense of it was Joan who had previously asked about whether or not golf carts can be driven within the village. And our response was no, from top of mind of what the conversation has been around golf carts. However, golf carts can be licensed as a motor vehicle. And so if somebody did see a golf cart within the community, there is a chance that it could in fact be a legally registered vehicle.
Interesting. It would have to have a license plate, I would assume?
In an ATV,
Yeah,
they can all
it'd be registered with the state, yep.
And there
So,
are several.
So
again,
if you saw someone driving a golf cart, you should be able to go to the, behind their golf cart and see whether or not they had a license.
that I'm not sure of, I just know that, so for instance, the exception that we previously were asked to look at was to avoid the registration process within the state. It's basically that you just, there are certain parameters that have to be met. One of them is that they can't exceed a certain miles per hour. However, a lot of times people will remove the govern off of a golf cart so that it can exceed that speed limit. And then oftentimes those are registered. Whether or not the state of Michigan requires a license plate to be put on it, I don't know what registration looks like. I don't know what the license plate would look like. In South Dakota, typically ATVs had a license plate that would be the size of a little over a driver's license.
So if we don't have an ordinance that prohibits it or permits it, can someone do it based on just the state law, or?
Yeah, they can do
If they
it.
followed the registration requirements?
Correct.
Okay.
That's why when the discussion came up, it was like, if we regulate it, we actually have greater control than if we don't.
So again, if you have any type of vehicle
Any
that
type
the
of vehicle.
state
Correct.
Secretary of State was willing to register,
Yep,
then you can operate it on the streets and
that's correct.
subject to whatever laws there are. There are
Right.
state laws on it, speed limits, types of roads and things like that. But despite the fact that we never chose to regulate it or prohibit it, then leaves it into just sort of the, whatever the regular domain is, whatever the
That's
regular.
correct.
legal- Okay,
Interesting.
okay.
Even though all the roads in Franklin are owned by the village, we still.
Correct, because we-
Default to the
yes.
state, okay.
They're public roads.
Because again, it's not that we're defaulting to this, it's just a motor vehicle.
Yeah, okay.
Right? We're not defaulting to the state law, it's just a motor vehicle. What we were previously looking at is an exception built within state law.
Right, and the state law decides what are the requirements for any type of motor vehicle, including a golf cart. So the state would say, you have to
Right.
have windshield, you have to have this, you have to have rear view mirrors, you have to have turn signals. The state law would govern, we're not in the equation because we chose not to be in the equation, but there is still a standard out there.
Yes, correct.
That somebody would have to follow. Okay,
Yes.
it's good to know. Okay. So anyone else with council reports or comments?
I've got a really quick one.
Yeah.
I was the one that was working with John and David to set up the Main Street thing.
Yeah.
When do you want to do that? Do you want to try and
Well,
squeeze it
if-
in to
if-
January
well-
sometime?
Well, if we're now gonna treat the priorities as its own dedicated date, can we try and do the 5 o'clock workshop next February, next month?
On the
Can I
9th?
make a separate suggestion so that we're avoiding the earlier time is we do have baked into our agendas a Main Street slot. And so his slide was not that long. It's not gonna take an hour, it's not gonna take a half hour. I think that if we just slot him into a presentation for our meeting,
I'm fine
we're
with
better
that.
off than moving it to a 5.
All right, so then as we set the agenda for next month, let's be cognizant of
Yep.
the fact that we could have a 45-minute presentation
Yeah.
in the middle there.
Can we tell them like 20 minutes?
He built a 20-minute presentation based on feedback from this group that we had an hour, and that he built a 20-minute to accommodate what likely would be
Question.
40 minutes of questions. So I'm happy to pass on or ask Rachel to pass on any parameters that you want, but that was the rationale behind the,
Should we wait to, to see what headway Rachel and Evan make with Main Street? Do we,
I don't think so, because in my mind, the existence of Oakland County and the
Yeah.
information that they're gonna provide to us is completely
Right.
separate and a part of, I'm not expecting John to present on our
Main Street.
Main Street.
Correct.
right,
Yeah, John was supposed to be, as we said, taking us back to the beginning
yeah.
and explaining to us the,
Yep.
the goals and purposes of Main Street, how Franklin got evolved way back in the day, what the objective was, what the plan was back then. Probably 2 seconds of his opinion on how well we failed or succeeded in that. And then for us to decide how we want to have Main Street exist moving forward.
Yeah.
well, that second part, we won't know until
No,
we
no,
get a
absolutely.
recommendation.
No, no,
from-
no, yeah, and that's not this
Yep.
first part. This first part is more, was supposed to be an educational tool. And if getting here at 5 is a problem and staying here a little longer and starting at 6 is what everyone prefers, then I'm fine with that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, getting here at 5 is not easy, so, okay.
So what's the answer?
The answer is you're gonna reach out to John and see if he can just be at our
Committee reports.
meeting next month.
Okay, and just bake it into the meeting itself?
Correct. Now, we might move him up to here, so he doesn't have to wait till
Right.
the
Okay,
end,
okay.
but not anything, just basically be here for 6 instead of be here for 5.
Okay,
Yeah,
be here for 6, okay.
yeah.
That work for you?
That works.
Okay, anyone else? If not, Rachel, do you have anything?
I'll go.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, you guys had
You go
stuff,
first.
my
Yeah,
bad,
I
I'm
just
sorry.
wanted to give a shout out that the Fire and Ice event is happening at the
Ooh.
Franklin Library. Oh, no. And that's gonna be January 31st from 2 to 4. It's a nice event. I was there with my family. Last year, there was a entertaining fire dancer and you could watch live ice sculptures happening.
2
And
o'clock?
last but not least, hot chocolate.
That's right.
So 2
Very
o'clock
tasty hot chocolate.
to 4 o'clock. And you say January 31st?
That's Saturday, the
Yep.
31st.
And
yep.
where's this at? In
The
buil-
library.
Oh, at the
Just
library.
outside at the library. They don't actually have fire in the library, to be clear.
That's good to know. Thank you for accommodating that. Perfect, okay.
I'll go. Do you have anything else, Dan? Just wanted to welcome Trustee King to his first meeting. I was gonna mention the fire and ice thing, and then also recognize Martin Luther King Day next Monday, obviously, very important holiday, celebrating diversity, inclusivity, and, equal rights. And the office will be closed in observance of Martin Luther King Day. So thank you, everyone that continues to wave the flag of inclusivity and equal rights, and recognize that it was a hard fight for that to occur.
Absolutely, thank you.
I'll just say, appreciate the opportunity to work here and build Franklin to be, continually a wonderful place, and appreciate how I've been welcomed, and glad to be a part, and look forward to my appointment.
Excellent, glad to have you here. Rachel, you got anything?
I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. Anybody, committee reports?
We will have lots from the people committee very soon.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I apologize. We skipped Teresa's bank letter. So, Teresa and Rachel have presented us with a letter that would be written by Teresa to First Merchants Bank, advising them and authorizing them to remove me as a signer on the bank account and to replace me with Rachel Lochran, our village administrator. And together with this letter and copy of our minutes, Teresa can send that to the bank and they will make the switch. These are the there should be 9 here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yep, we have 9 bank accounts, and that's the purpose of this letter. Anybody have any questions for either Teresa or Rachel? All right, having no comments, if we can get a motion to, I guess what would be, approve the First Merchants Bank letter written by Teresa Jablonski and authorize her to submit it to the bank to change the village signer.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Solly, second by,
King.
sorry about that, Jeff.
No problem.
A little brain cramp there. Second by King. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Teresa, have at it. Let us know, well, you're gonna sign it, so you don't need anyone to do that, so. Okay. Yep. Yep, perfect. That is the end of the agenda. The council is now going to move into a closed session. Our village attorney has advised us that he has a written communication that he needs to present to us, and we need to go into committee to discuss it. We will adjourn the meeting, just so everybody knows, the meeting is gonna get adjourned immediately after the closed session. There'll be no more business being taken, so you won't miss anything if you.
Or does it have to be by the chair?
To enter into closed session?
You can do it, you can,
A motion to enter into closed session? I
Correct.
think. Okay.
Yep.
I'll second the motion,
Yeah, motion.
and then I'll move to.
Motion by
adjourn.
King, second by Salaka, further discussion.
Should I move to adjourn this meeting, or not? till
No, we'll
after?
adjourn.
Okay.
All in favor of going into closed section? Aye. Opposed?